This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we review the only Marvel movie to come out this year, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Geek boner.
Plus, the Jock was at San Diego Comicon and made it into Hall H. He gives us a full rundown of all the Marvel announcements and surprises and more, all in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, July 29th, 2024.
Yo, 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 this is Rob Liefeld, creator of Deadpool, Cable, X-Force, Domino. You are listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. You want the most up-to-date comic book movie and TV news? You found it. Fun? You bet. Puppets? With substance abuse issues? Oddly, yes. Only here on the Jock and Nerd podcast. Does it get any better than this? I don't think so. Listen, Rob Liefeld, creator of all the stuff you love, saying to you, listen to the Jock and Nerd podcast. So sexy, so awesome. I never miss it. And it's my favorite thing in forever. It's spectacular. It's awesome. I love it. Jock and Nerd.
Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up. Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
What's up, listener? Thanks for pressing play and welcome to the Jock and Nerd podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero, TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's a nerd.
And joining us, listener, is this universe's felty variant Wolverine. Yes, he is this universe's anchor bitch. And his slack hole is made of adamantium. You can call him the Ben-Verine. But we call him Rug Boy.
Rugverine.
I just went for Ben-Verine. He was in Pippin. He's amazing.
Yeah, Ben-Verine is a showman.
Triple threat. I mean, you want to talk Hugh Jackman? Ben-Verine acting, singing, dancing way before Hugh Jackman. Come on.
Was he in The Wiz?
Maybe. Sure. Wasn't everybody? Michael Jackson was in The Wiz. But stars in Pippin. Great. Ben-Verine's the best Wolverine variant there is.
Absolutely.
Anyways, enough of that bullshit. Oh my God, what a big week we all had. Oh shit.
Geek boner.
For a big week for geekdom, fandom, big week for Marvel, a big week for Anthony the Jock.
Yes.
As you were in San Diego to see Deadpool and Wolverine, go to the convention, and actually be in Hall H.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you manage that?
Yes. We're just gonna dive right into it. Give me your overall experience. What happened? How did this happen?
Yeah. I apologize to the viewers that hate listening to my voice because I'm going to be talking a lot
Well,
here.
you got all the goods, buddy.
Okay.
So, yeah, as you know, I went to San Diego Comicon. I only went Friday and Saturday, even though I had a 4-day pass.
Okay.
But we got there Thursday afternoon. The Hall H thing. So Marvel, we knew that Marvel was going to have a panel on. I was floating stuff to my friends, about going to it. But I didn't think it was really realistic. I didn't think they would want to do it. I mean, I knew they would want to do it, but I didn't think they knew the amount of work it would take to do it. I was planning to maybe go, the day before, so I guess I should take a step back to the way Hall H and San Diego Comicon. First off, San Diego Comicon overall good experience. The floor is crazy, like going on the exhibit hall floor.
Yeah.
There are so many people there. I did buy some nice art.
Nice.
I bought a Terminator poster and a They Live poster. So I was very in my 80s action movie.
All right.
You run into any friends of the show there in Artist Alley?
I did not. So Dope Pope, I told that motherfucker to text me and I gave him my phone number and he never texted me.
No.
So Dope, if you're listening to this, you son of a bitch.
And you didn't get the Lensations while you were there.
Was he there too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking guy. All right. So anyways, the floor, that can be a whole nother discussion. So the way it works with Hall H, and I'll just throw a quick aside on Hall H. I went to the Hall H Friday panel. I went Friday to Hall H because it was a less crazy.
Yeah.
And I saw a panel with Anton Fuqua and Roland Emmerich.
Oh.
Which is pretty interesting. But the one I was there for was the Alien Romulus panel.
Oh, nice.
and it was fucking awesome.
I saw they had face huggers. They handed out face huggers to the crowd or something.
Yeah, they at the end of it, they handed out face huggers to probably 6,000 people.
That's amazing.
And they gave me a IMAX upgrade.
Oh,
for
sweet.
AMC.
Oh, my
That
God.
was really cool.
That's amazing.
They showed 3 bits of footage, which were all great.
Yeah.
Just real quick, they did one scene where they're in the room in the water, and the face huggers start coming into the water, and they're like attacking these dudes, and the dudes think they escape, and then the face huggers blast through the doors and then start chasing people, and then latch onto the Asian chick's face.
Yeah.
So you saw that scene. We then saw the scene where the alien facehugger comes out of her chest, and it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
While that's happening, I guess mild spoilers because not everyone's going to spoil.
Yeah.
I guess they're like in a plane, and there's only a couple of them on the plane. And as the facehugger's coming out, they accidentally, because of this panic, they accidentally like crash the plane into some part of it. So there's like a bunch of different elements going on with the facehugger and the plane, like the ship getting out of control and all this shit. And then there's a scene which we haven't seen yet where there's a guy and a girl, and they come across this cocoon type thing.
Yeah.
And this is kind of spoilery, but the dude has like an electric baton and tries to electrocute whatever inside of the cocoon.
Yeah.
And he thinks he gets it, and then all of a sudden he's looking at the cocoon, and the fucking tail hits him in the face. And then the alien like drone, I guess what they're doing is it like cocoons and then morphs into something bigger because it like slowly comes out of the fucking cocoon, and it looked awesome.
Wow.
The whole crew was there. Isabella Merced is gorgeous, by the way, in person.
Nice.
Fede Alvarez seems like he knows what he's doing. He was basically like, I keep every the movie, I keep thinking it's shit, and that means I care, and I'm really putting in a lot of effort onto this. And he loves the original Alien. Was talking about that, and I think they're going to make. I think this is going to be a good one.
Yeah,
I think it's.
movie,
I thought it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
He had humility. That's new.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like basically like it's shit. He goes, every movie experience, you walk into that theater and you think maybe this movie will change my life, and most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah,
he's like, but I'm trying to go for it here.
Wow.
And he's like, and they kept talking about how when he was making the movie, he was pitching to all the actors that like a lot of this stuff is going to be filmed in camera. Like he's going to really minimize the CGI.
Yeah.
So I think they're in the right spot.
That is refreshing instead of him coming out going, this is the best alien movie you're ever going to see, right?
He kept saying, even when I finished the movie, he thinks it's shit. It just, he's like, and if I think it's shit, then that's a good thing because I'm trying to make it better and better and better and better. I'm never satisfied. He's like, once you're satisfied, then you're not in a spot to make a good movie.
Right. No, I think it's going to be really good.
That's a nice, fresh way of looking at it because there's so much hubris coming from all these young directors a lot of the time, and they think that their shit doesn't stink. Yeah. So
yeah, he was. I like listening to him and like looking at the cast. For what it's worth, too, celebrities in person are very good looking people. Not that anyone needed to know that, but I was like, wow, these people are good looking. So yeah, you get all this free stuff at the end. So anyways, Hall H, the way it works is the day before, because what would happen is people would camp out for days to get into the big panels.
Right.
So what they do is the day before every, so for example, Marvel's panel was the Saturday. So the day before, they start handing out wristbands at 8 p.m. to guarantee you a slot into the panel if you get there by 7:30 a.m. that day.
Okay.
So I, heard about this and I was throwing it to my friends. And one of my friends, Chris, who's been on the show, Chris Sotelo, he was like, I'm down to do it. And he goes, I'm reading on Reddit that people are getting over there at 6 a.m. Friday.
For the 8 p.m. ticket. Oh, fuck.
For 8 p.m. ticket, and then to get in the next day.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm down to do it. My buddy Rex goes, I'm down to do it.
Nice.
And I just called my friend Rex. I goes, do you realize what you're committing to? Because I'm down to also do it, but you realize what's at stake here.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let's do it, but we'll rotate, whatever. So Chris, he's a very driven guy.
Yeah.
He goes, okay, Friday, I'm going to get there at 6:30 a.m.
Oh, shit.
So he got there at 6:30 a.m. with a chair and like snacks and planted a spot. And they probably had, I would say, probably like 500, 600 people in front of them.
Already there at 6:30 in the morning. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
There were people there that got there probably even earlier. And
Jesus.
so he had been to the con. He got there Thursday. He had went last year. So he was like, I'll take a long shift.
Okay.
So me and Rex got to the con at 9:30-ish.
Yeah.
And I tagged him out at I tagged Chris out at 12.
Okay.
So Chris sat there for almost 6 hours.
Oh shit. Okay. So then you come in
the
and
sun,
rotate
whatever.
it.
And then I came in. So what we would do is we would do 2-hour shifts.
Yeah.
So we would just rotate. One person would leave, hold the spot, because you can hold the spot for technically 2 more people.
Okay.
So we were just rotating, and then by about 7:30, we all like met together and we waited out the rest of it. There was a Crunchyroll concert going on in the background.
Yeah.
So there was like Japanese anime artists like. Like, I don't know. It was very, very like. I was like, "What is this music?"
It's like G-Fest. I mean, it was like Kaiju
so there was
Brooklyn.
that going on. There's a lot of crazy activations too. Like,
Sure.
this thing takes over the city.
Yeah.
And every studio and every like niche thing has something going on. So there's all this shit going on. So they start handing out the wristbands at 8 p.m. But what they do is they go down the line and verify you have a San Diego Comicon badge and an ID.
Yeah, and
your whole party, your whole party has to be there. And keep in mind, like, there was probably like 500 people lined up.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean 500 people were there when wristbands. There was probably 3 times that amount because everyone was holding at least 3 spots.
Oh shit!
They're going literally down the line.
Yeah,
and looking at this. So we don't get our wristbands till 10:30 at night.
Oh my god!
Now. So that's, we'd been there 14 hours as a group. So, but here's the thing. So during the day I was listening, I was like, because I was talking to people that do this, they were there around us, and they were like, because I said, so as long as we're here by 7:30 a.m. the next day, we're going to get in, right? They're like, no, that's not how that works. They say it's like that, but it's not that organized. And I was like, what are you guys doing? They're like, we're getting our wristbands and we're staying.
Oh shit.
So there's a segment of these people that get their wristbands
and just stay there
overnight.
Well, yeah,
right.
You already put in 14 hours. You're in the front of the fucking line. I'm not moving at this point.
Because what that does is it guarantees you to get in, but also gets you like closer to the main stage.
Yeah, you get better seats.
So we were like, fuck. All right, well, we'll have someone get here. Chris goes, okay, I'll get here at 5:45 the next day.
No.
So we're like, okay, we go home at 10:30. Me and Rex go out for a little bit.
Yeah.
We go out. We get home at 1:30. I set an alarm for 4:45. Rex is like scared that I won't get up. And I got up at 4:45. I was like, I'm ready to go. So we got there. We met him. We met Chris at about 6:15. And I would say there was probably 4,000 people in front of us.
Holy shit. Are you fucking shitting me? It's almost full at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's because those people never fucking moved.
Never left.
And then more people so you're
Yeah, and that's the thing. So like some people will move, but then also some people will leave and be like, hold the spot, and then their friends would come in and
they had to do shifts. Like some will take a 5-hour
nap. Do shifts overnight and stuff. So like that's why people were saying, no, it doesn't mean you're going to get in. Even if you get in, if some variable happens, you're kind of screwed. So 6:45, we get in line. We probably start moving around 8:30-ish.
Okay.
The line moves, and it's like they're letting in people in like tranches.
Yeah.
But the hall doors don't open till probably 10:15.
Okay.
10 o'clock.
Okay.
So we don't actually get into Hall H till about 10:30, and the first panel is 11:15. So we've been waiting 4 hours.
Sounds like an odyssey.
Jesus.
We're in Hall H.
Yes.
But keep in mind, the Marvel panel's at 6.
And it's 10:30 in the morning.
It's 10:30 in the
You've been waiting there since 6 in the morning, not to mention the 14 hours from the day before.
The day before.
Some of those fuckers have been there for like 24 hours already.
And you know why Hall H can smell like ass, like a zoo.
Yeah, when are these
some of these people aren't showered.
No, when are they showered?
This sounds like absolute torture.
I know. This doesn't sound fun at all.
I would never do this.
I know. So far, this doesn't sound like fun. Okay.
No.
So, but you're in Hall H, 10:30, where...
Well, it was one of those things where, so it doesn't sound fun, but in the moment, we had put so much effort into it that it was like, let's see how let's play it out as far as possible and like make it happen.
Okay, so wait, how is everybody's mood like that moment when you're in Hall H?
Oh, everyone's a giddy excited,
right? And so you're
everyone's super excited,
triumphant.
Put this into perspective. There's like 150,000 people or something like
120,000 people went through San Diego Comicon.
And then only 6,000 get into Hall H.
That's ridiculous. Right. That's crazy.
So, and my friend Chris is documenting, but I mean, the fact that we're like, fuck, we got in here. Like, how do we do this? So we get in, we're sitting down. There's dudes that like from the press that were like complete assholes. Like, so it smelled like crap. But anyways, so there's at 11:30 is the Superman and Lois panel.
Okay, last season for that show.
Last season for Superman and Lois.
Good show.
Apparently, it's a good show. The clip was a Doomsday versus Superman battle.
Yep.
I don't watch the show, but I was like mildly entertained. So they do that for an hour. The next panel is a Berserker panel. It's Keanu Reeves' comic that he's created.
From the
Todd McFarlane's involved as well.
Todd McFarlane's involved with the toy. So it's like becoming this multimedia thing. So they're like, we're doing more comics. We have a book that's coming out. We're doing a live animated series. And
is that
Keanu's
related
there.
to Cyberpunk Rugs, the game, or is this separate?
No, this is separate.
This is separate. Okay.
So yeah, they have a whole Keanu thing, and Keanu's hilarious.
Wow,
He's funny as hell.
That's great.
But I don't know anything about this fucking book.
Yeah.
So, then the panel after that is an hour and a half, and it's Star Trek.
Oh boy. Okay.
And they have 3 Star Trek shows. They're the animated show.
Lower
that's
Decks is coming
Lower
back.
Deck.
Hilarious. Great show.
Last season. Apparently it's funny as hell. It sounded funny.
Yeah, Jack
and the
Quaid's
people
in
on
there.
stage actually were fucking hilarious.
Jack Quaid's in it.
Jack Quaid's in it. Yep. Yeah. Jack Quaid's a voice in it. There's the Star Trek show.
Strange New Worlds.
Which one's that?
That's the one with Captain Pike and Spock, and it's like their episodic Star Trek show that's running 3rd season. It's a very good
that
show.
one.
Very
that
good
one
show.
was there. Yep.
Yeah.
That one was the first thing, and then there was also Rebecca Romaine was there and all that.
She's in that one.
And then there was the one with Michelle Yeoh. That's
Discovery.
Paramount discovered a movie.
Oh, they're making a movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had 3 Star Trek things for an hour and a half. I couldn't have been more bored.
90-minute. That had to be brutal for you. 90-minute. You're like Star Wars. Now you're in a 90-minute Star Trek panel.
Jesus.
Yes. Then there's that.
Wait, let me ask you this. What if you had to pee, get food this whole time? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you want to pee, there's bathrooms in Hall H.
Okay.
The lines get pretty fucking long.
Sure.
Though. Then, or you could go into the con and pee. But the thing is, if you go into the con, you have to be back by a certain time.
Oh, shit.
And you're risking like losing it.
Oh, shit.
Like not getting back in. Okay. So like, and then if you want to get food, Hall H has its own concession stand as well.
Okay.
But the concession stand's it's like a 30-minute wait to get food.
Okay.
So I definitely got food, but so yeah. But most of the time you're just fucking sitting in this chair. It's not like it's like a proper chair. Like you're not really.
Did you have good seats, good view? Like how close were you guys?
We weren't very close, but we were in a good spot to see the screens.
Okay.
So that's where you want to be, you want to be able to see the screens.
Okay.
Least.
Star Trek has ended. What time is it now?
Star Trek ends. It's 3:15.
Okay.
6 o'clock. So next panel is this like Entertainment Weekly women's empowerment type thing.
Exciting. Exciting. Sounds exciting. And enriching,
female actresses. They had the girl that plays the head popper from
Victoria
Boys.
Newman. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, they had her. They had the girl from Mad TV that used to play the Korean.
Oh yes,
Jessa Borstein or something.
Oh yeah,
her name.
She does
Alex Borstein.
Alex Borstein does the voice.
She was
Family
there,
Guy.
and then they had a bunch of other people.
Yeah, okay.
It was entertaining, but not for me. So that ends.
Yeah.
Then excitement's starting to build up because at 4:45 is the Penguin panel.
Oh yes.
So they had the Penguin panel. They had director there. Colin Farrell wasn't there, but they had him virtually in, and then they had all the actors. That one was pretty decent. The Penguin show looks pretty good.
They showed you that trailer.
That looks pretty good.
By the
that ends.
Side tangent. Did you hear the Penguin had a rooftop activation on a building, San Diego Comicon,
I heard about
Iceberg
that.
Lounge. The fucking thing caught on fire, had to be evacuated. I was like, this is a very immersive marketing strategy.
So that about that fire.
Yeah.
So that happens on Friday.
Yeah.
We're in line and we can see smoke coming from above San Diego Comicon. We're like, oh my God, that looks like a huge fire.
Yes, that was the
And
penguin
we were like,
thing.
we were looking, and selfishly, we were going, I hope that doesn't mean they're going to evacuate this line.
We have to leave. You're like, do we have to leave? We can stay here, right?
You can stay
It's
here.
far
right?
away.
So
it's over there.
We did see that fire.
Yeah.
That was a crazy. All all these things, these activations, they like take over bars and stuff. It's really cool experiences. Like, there's Paramount takes over, like you name it, a bar has been transformed. Like even all the buildings are wrapped in like nerdy shit. It's just
awesome.
a crazy experience. And San Diego is beautiful. So okay, so Penguin ends. It's 5:45. Marvel's at 6. At 6, the director comes. Not the director. The Hall H guys like, you guys ready for Marvel? Yeah. Everyone's going fucking nuts, right? Up to this point, all the panels were very like standard. They'd have a host, they'd announce the cast, they'd show a clip from the whatever they were talking about.
Yep.
The host would ask the cast some softball questions.
Yeah.
Audience would ask some questions. It's done.
All very standard. Sure.
All very standard. Like, so the Marvel panel starts and Kevin Feige comes out and they bring out a choir dressed in like red and yellow, and they have the choir singing like a prayer for Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's awesome. Yeah. I saw some of this. Yeah.
2 days earlier, by the way, they had a Deadpool and Wolverine panel and they dropped the movie live for the audience.
This is crazy. Yes. The Thursday panel, they screened the movie. And if you hadn't seen the movie and you were on the internet and looking at these videos, all of the cameos would have been spoiled because they were all there on fucking stage.
Oh my God.
They brought everybody out.
They played it off to the audience that it was just going to be an hour panel, and then they dropped the movie live.
Yeah.
And apparently that was an awesome story. But that also was a shit show getting into, from what I heard. So anyways, so they do the Deadpool Wolverine choir, like it's going nuts. And then the sound is going crazy. The lights are like blue and yellow everywhere. And
awesome.
Feige's like, okay, movie's great. It's made X amount of money. Marvel's crossed $30 billion in
that's amazing.
Saved money with this movie. But, we don't want to think about the past. We want to think about the future. And then right off the bat, they bring out the cast of Brave New World.
Nice. All right.
Bring out Brave New World.
Yeah.
Everyone's there except Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
They do, it's these softball questions. Anthony Mackie's like joking around on stage. Then they drop some new footage.
Yeah.
And it's a trailer where Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Ross is talking about the celestial being, and that it's produced this rare metal, and he goes, it's called adamantium.
Oh shit, he said the words.
Yeah, it's adamantium. And then he goes to Sam and goes, hey, like, I know we've had our ups and downs, blah, 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 but I want you to reform the Avengers.
Oh shit, he said the words again.
Yeah, and then
trying to
Sam's
form the
like,
Avengers.
Sam's like, what do you mean? Like, you pull us apart? He's like, I want to make it, like, I want us to work together. And then Sam's like, but what if we disagree? And it kind of then trails off. There's a bunch of like very Winter Soldier-esque feel with the leader. And Giancarlo Esposito on stage goes, I'm Sidewinder from Serpent Society.
Yes, he finally revealed who he's playing, and it's a really obscure.
So it's not GW Bridge.
It's not GW Bridge. It's not
I knew
Stryker.
it was good. You were trying to figure out who's going to be
the leader of the Serpent Society, Sidewinder. So Serpent Society is still at play in the movie. Also, this point on stage, you have Tim Blake Nelson, Danny Ramirez, I think Giancarlo, and then Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson, and then Kevin Feige, and then the director.
Yeah.
So then the footage is a lot of action shots and all this stuff. And then it ends. So Harrison Ford, as the president's giving a speech in front of the White House, something happens and he starts morphing into the Red Hulk.
Oh shit, in front of the White House.
The camera pans up and his face, it looks like Harrison Ford's face is on the Red Hulk.
Yes,
and it ends with that.
Yes, see? Oh my God. Like, he would look great as the Hulk. So the footage looked good, like on top of the trailer stuff.
It looked really, I mean, it had a certain mood to it of like this spy espionage thriller. It looked really good. I know that like with the behind the scenes has been pretty messy, but for what it had tried to accomplish, which is setting the tone of more of a grounded, Winter Soldier feel.
Yeah,
that's what
great.
it felt like.
So there has been some new information in an Entertainment Weekly interview at San Diego. Anthony Mackie, I guess, reveals that spoilers. There will be multiple Hulks in the movie.
Oh.
So you might see Mark Ruffalo, maybe Jen Walters. I don't know.
My theory is the Thaddeus Ross has had the leader locked up this whole time.
Yeah.
And he commissioned the leader to make him into the Red Hulk.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because he was messing around.
Because there's a lot of villain things going on. You have Red Hulk, you have Serpent Society, you have the leader. So there's a lot of variables at play here. So yeah,
nice.
Anyways,
Yes, that's coming out February 14th, 2025. These movies are all 2025 movies. Okay.
Yep. So it's all 2025.
Yeah.
So then the next thing is Thunderbolts.
Woo, Thunderbolts.
So they have the cast of Thunderbolts come out. Florence Pugh got an awesome reaction. Sebastian Stan got an awesome reaction. They bring out the entire cast, and then David Harbour comes out as the Red. What's it called? Red Guardian. And he's doing the whole like bit where he's talking like him.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Wait a minute, you guys didn't get my email. You're not dressed in costume." So then it's like this whole bit where he thought everyone was going to come in character.
Yeah.
They have their softball questions, each of the cast, and then they show a trailer. This is exclusive footage. And it starts with Yelena Belova and Red Guardian kind of having a conversation about like being lost, and she like is looking for some sort of fulfillment or whatever. And then I don't remember all the specifics, but then the trailer gets to a point where each of these characters from the Thunderbolts is being led to like they all are in a room, and they don't know how they've gotten there.
Okay.
And all the doors start closing in the room, so they're locked in this room, and they start fighting each other, and it's pretty good.
Oh,
they have Ghost, and you have Taskmaster, and they're all fighting each other, and they're all like not getting the upper hand on each other.
Yeah,
and they're all like, "Wait a minute, like we've been all chosen to die," and it's like they're like on a death mission. It looks like sort of like a Suicide Squad feel.
Yeah, like somebody set them up for this mission. Yeah,
and it's kind of this like mystery of like who's pulling the strings, like what's going on, why are they all together?
Yeah,
Valentina is in it, and then there's a lot of like cuts to this guy Bob, who's the Sentry.
Yes,
and like how this thing, like he's this like wild card thing that they got, and they don't cut to him completely, but they cut to a point where you can see the S, the stylized S, like as a belt.
Oh,
so they're playing it off like this. I feel like the Sentry is the villain, or like he's like this unstable thing, this wild card on the team that they might eventually,
right?
Yeah. So like that looked pretty good too. I didn't like look as good as some of the other stuff, but I also was like, this looks. They might have something here. I was a little skeptical, but I think they might have hit something on
I believe it'll be revealed that Valentina possibly has bought Avengers Tower, and she's the new owner, and maybe this is the team that lives there. Also, I know they asked about the Thunderbolts asterisk, and they just talked about Thunderbolt.
They said you'll find out.
Ross, you got to imagine that the Red Hulk's in this movie with that asterisk and the name or something.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, they played it off like, there's a lot of things in Marvel with similar titles because there's different creators, but I think it's definitely has something to do with Thunderbolt Ross. And the asterisk, they said it'll unveil itself as you watch it.
Oh, okay.
So, end up on someone's nipple.
Yes. Just a pasty. It's a pasty.
Yeah. All right, so then you're done with Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Then they bring out Feige comes out, and he's like, Matt Shankman, come on out. And he's like, oh, we actually just started filming in England. So we don't really have the cast here. But we do have some like test footage / like, I don't know what you would call it. It was like concept footage to kind of give you a mood.
Yeah.
That's leaked on the internet. So it's not real footage, but it's footage they made to kind of give you the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
Of the movie. And it's very, they said this even in the thing. It's set in the 60s, but a future retroistic 60s. So I'm assuming it's an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
And it's very like kitschy. I can tell why they put Matt Shankman, because it feels like a very like 60s-esque show where there's like the footage is like Mr. Fantastic's saying something along the lines of like, have you ever seen I don't know what the exact words, but he's like, have you ever seen one of these before? And he's like at a chalkboard, and he's like teaching, and they're like keep cutting to NASA and exploration, and the thing is on a dating show, and it's just like this very you get the vibe that it's like the very 60s family, and then it gets revealed that it's Fantastic Four: The First Steps is the title.
Fantastic Four: First Steps. I did actually. This was leaked. I watched this, and it looks.
Well, one quick thing to it. The trailer thing ends with Galactus appearing inside of a building.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah, and it's a lot of animatics. They literally just shot this shit to put it together, but it looked very different from anything else they've done.
It looked like it had its own vibe.
The retro futuristic Art Deco style was definitely there. You see them as astronauts, and then you can watch this whole panel on YouTube, and like you said, they look good in person. Like Vanessa Kirby looked pretty good on stage.
So that was the thing. So then once they showed the footage, they were like, "Psych, we do have them here." They just flew over, and they literally flew over that day. They asked a bunch of questions, and then he's like, "They got to leave," and they're flying back out to England today. Right. But then he ends with, "Well, they had this flying car come through." Panel.
That's the Fantastic car. I saw this. A giant car comes flying.
I saw it's like a floating prop.
What did that look like in person? Was that cool?
It was just it was kind of funny. I mean, it was just like, what is the fuck is this?
It's just a big blue car floating through.
And Feige makes sure to go out of his way to go, hey, by the way, the Fantastic Four, you'll see them in the Avengers.
Yes, he did say they're going to be in the Avengers movies. It was great to see the cast together and like the kind of figure out the tone of that. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
It looked. I mean, they haven't filmed anything yet, but the way it looked and the vibe and the tone that they were going for definitely came through. So at this point, I've watched 3 different things, and I will say that I was positive about everything. I was like, Marvel seems to at least has been able to convey through these 3 panels that each of these movies has a specific vibe they're going for. It's not a very generic thing.
Yeah.
It's not very Marvel, like regular Marvel style. Like each thing had its own, like you can grasp, like, okay, I get it. I get what they're going for here. I understand.
You get the pitch.
So, I got the pitch each time.
So, but so far it's 3 movies. We all, knew about these movies, and I would
for the most part, there wasn't a ton of announcements. It was more or less like footage.
Where's the big bombs? Where's the good shit?
And prior to this, my buddies all 3 of us were talking, and we go, what could Marvel announce this week that would break the internet?
Yeah.
And my friend Rex goes, bring back RDJ. And I'm like, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I go, if they announce one of the Avengers films as Avengers versus X-Men, I think that'll break the internet.
Yeah.
And then, so we were all like, okay, what? So now there's only like 10 minutes left in the panel. They only have an hour.
Right.
So, what's his name? Feige's up there and he's like, okay, well, we got to have some directors. And then they show a trailer for all the stuff the Russo brothers have done. So it starts with Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. It gets you hyped, and it basically says it ends with the Russo brothers are back.
Oh shit!
Russo brothers come out on stage. Yeah. Russo brothers come out on stage. We're back. We left, but we were convinced. We still love this. And then I guess later on too, it was announced that Stephen Marcus.
Yeah, or McFeely. I think it's McFeely.
McFeely, yeah. One half of them is also coming back to write these movies.
All right, that's
so
great.
These movies are getting a whole new,
You're bringing the team back.
McFeely.
They're bringing the band back together. So then they go, okay, one of the movies, the second one is called Secret Wars.
Yep.
Everyone knew that. But they're like, this other one is going to be called, and they reveal it, Doomsday.
Holy shit! Here's the pivot.
So then, while that's happening, all these Doom masks start coming out. People with Doom masks start coming out on stage.
Yeah.
And one of the Russo brothers goes, we were really inspired to come back, but we wanted to come back for this awesome storyline. Doomsday Secret Wars is huge, but we need the greatest actor in the universe to do this. I'm like, the greatest actor? What the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah.
They're like, we were only going to do this if this guy came back, or he's a big reason why we're doing this. Yeah. And then the thing parts, one dude comes up in a green suit, he has a mask, opens, it's RDJ, and the face goes fucking nuts.
Robert Downey Jr., aka Tony Stark, aka Iron Man.
It was
I'm literally sitting there, and I think my mouth like dropped. I was like,
yeah, how was that moment?
I mean, it was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I mean that broke the internet. Clearly, everyone was everyone was in shock. But it was reacted to very positively, right?
Yeah.
And RDJ he's a very he loves this shit, so he's like taking it all in.
Oh yeah.
By the way, on the Fantastic Four thing,
yeah.
What's his name? Pedro Pascal got a fucking huge reaction.
Oh really? When he walked
I think
out.
he's gonna be like.
Star.
I think he's gonna be really good as Reed. I think he's gonna be like the guy to kind of carry this.
Oh man,
for Marvel.
Yeah.
But RDJ, blah, 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 he comes out. And everyone's going nuts. He puts the mask out. He goes, new mask, same task.
Yeah.
And then everyone's just going nuts. And that's kind of how it ends. And then they end it with bye, bye, bye. And then the NSYNC thing comes
like,
on.
We got to go. So I watched this moment on YouTube, and this is a pretty fucking awesome reveal. I can't imagine. You could hear the crowd. The fact that he's standing in the back there the whole time is also great.
It was very well done reveal. And probably, I mean, I've looked back, having been in the room now, looking back at other Hall H stuff, and I would say this is probably one of the bigger ones they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall they succeeded in breaking the internet. Now the rumor of this happening had been around for 6 months last year. But it was
I never saw it.
I never heard it.
I was genuinely surprised.
I think we talked about it a week ago.
Yeah,
or something.
That rumor had been around, but the fact that it's happening, it's crazy. Okay, now let's talk about this critically. How do we feel about the Russo brothers, RDJ coming back? When it first happened, I was like, oh, everybody gets their job back. This is fantastic. They're getting employed again. They're bringing the band back. And I've seen the criticisms. Ruggs, I'm just going to go to you. What is your gut feeling on having to bring the Russos back and having to...
The Russos that's a slam dunk.
Okay.
Of course you want the Russos. You want the guys that made the better Marvel films in. So that's a slam dunk. That's a no-brainer. They should be back. They're not doing that great on their own.
That's the thing. I think right now, Marvel...
It makes sense.
They both need each other, right? The Russo movies have not been doing great. Marvel has been struggling.
Yeah. So this is a big get for them.
But their track record is there.
You're getting that good faith, that good credit back. This whole thing with the Doom, I love that Robert Downey Jr. is involved. I love him. I love his acting. I love what he brings to the table. But I just think that this is not the way to do it. And I know the storylines that exist. I don't think they're going to be doing those storylines because both of those storylines don't work. So you got one storyline where Dr. Doom becomes Iron Man after Tony Stark is in a coma. He's in a coma, so Doom starts wearing the Iron Man armor. That's not that story.
Right.
Because people are like, hey, they swapped before. I'm like, okay, but that's not the story they're doing. Then the second story is it's a what if where instead of Reed Richards being Von Doom's roommate, it's Tony Stark.
Yes.
And Doom is jealous of Tony Stark because Tony Stark's smarter than him. He doesn't try. He's rich. Everything's effortless to him, and he's got to suffer. So he builds his machine, and he tricks Tony into helping him build it, and then he tricks Tony into using it, and basically he swaps minds with Tony and lives as Tony Stark.
Yeah, he does the superior Spider-Man.
So he's Victor Von Doom as Tony Stark. But the thing is, if they do it like the book, he continues to be Tony Stark. He's never Victor Von Doom. He doesn't start Latveria. He doesn't, he's Tony Stark, and he dominates the world being Tony Stark.
There is a storyline I thought I saw on the internet where Doom, maybe this is the same one, but they were talking about a storyline where Doom switches bodies with Stark as an adult, as they're when they're both who they are, established. So I think there's a possibility there. I think there's a number of different. I mean, they hinted at it being a variant of Tony Stark.
Yeah, this is confusing. I had so many questions.
Well, there's that.
I just don't like it. I don't think it's. I feel like that's not the way to introduce Doom into the world. Because, let's talk about Doom, because Doom's been around for a long time. He's been a Fantastic Four villain for a really long time.
Yep.
But Ed Brubaker did this compilation of his backstory into kind of like a year one, like Mazzucchelli did with Batman.
Yeah.
With Dr. Doom, where he took all the stuff from the old comics and kind of like synthesized it. And the story goes that Victor Von Doom comes from a gypsy family, and they practice black magic. And his mom got entangled with Mephisto. So she basically lost her soul to Mephisto. And one of the reasons that Doom is so obsessed with the occult is because he's trying to become powerful enough to take down Mephisto and free his mother and all that stuff. So that's his like backstory.
Okay.
And he also is a genius. And so the tech stuff comes hand in hand, but he's mostly like if you combined Iron Man with Doctor Strange. He really is almost as magically powered as Sorcerer Supreme.
And tech powered.
He's tech powered like Tony Stark. So he's basically got these two Omega beings in one. That's why he's so powerful. You do this like switcheroo thing and whatever with Robert. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to work. They're not going to have that like gypsy background with the occult. It makes it more like it gives it more like texture and stuff, you know. And I feel like when people look, they're just going to see Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man. They're going to see Tony Stark. So
are we being cheated out of like a real Doom? You know,
yeah.
People who love Doom, you can kind of feel like you're getting cheated out of real Doom.
Yeah, no, I see that point. I certainly can understand that point. We don't know what they're going to do, so I'm willing to let it play out. I mean, who's to say that they don't fucking Colin Farrell Robert Downey Jr. and make him look like someone else?
Oh, sure.
Right. I don't know why you would cast Robert Downey Jr. though at that point.
They're not doing that. It's going to be a variant. It's going to be a Stark variant.
Here's the thing: you don't know. That's the thing. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know what they're going to do. So I see the consternation. I get it. I also initially was like, "Wow, that's crazy." Also, I don't know if I want RDJ, but then I also was thinking about like potential stories of, this hero that they're now fighting, like. The hero's reacting to RDJ.
Imagine
or Tony Stark,
when Peter Parker comes across him for the first time.
There is like some juicy stuff you can mine out of that. Yeah. I don't know if you use Doom.
I feel it's cheap. I feel like that's cheap.
It might be cheap. I think it's I think you have to also look at like where Marvel's at.
Yeah.
Right. So this wasn't supposed to be the thing. It was supposed to be Kang.
Right. This is the
pivot. Shit didn't work. Let's just say that plainly, it didn't work. Fucking Kang. They didn't do Kang all that well. People weren't reacting to Kang, and the dude fucking got himself in trouble. They had to pivot. They're going to Doom. The shit the last 5 years,
which is logical.
The shit the last 5 years hasn't been, it hasn't been hidden like it used to, right? And Marvel's like, we need a shot in the arm. This is clearly a shot in the arm that's going to get people talking. They're basically like, let's bring the band back together.
Yeah.
But we'll have the lead singer do different songs.
Yeah, he's going to be singing dark metal now.
Right. So I get what they're doing. I get.
They're doing Dark Iron Man, basically.
Yeah, if they go Dark Iron Man, I don't know if I'll like it, but I think it's two things. I think it's somewhat safe.
Yeah.
I think it's also somewhat risky because we're obviously if they portray Doom in the way we think it's going to happen, that's never been done before. I mean, we can talk about like rare one-off comics, but that's kind of all bullshit, right? Yeah. Anyone that's like, oh, it's in the comics and they pointed to like 2 issues, that's not really a thing. Yeah. Everything's in the comics.
Yeah.
Literally any storyline.
They've done everything in the comics at one point or another, depending on who sucked dick that week and or who got the editor drunk and allowed him to do it, or whatever, who had dirt on somebody. So like a lot of these stories happen and you're not supposed to be like, okay, just because it happened that defines the whole character. I do think the reason is very calculated. This is a corporate move. This is we want to generate buzz. What's going to generate the most buzz? What's going to signal to everybody that we're getting the band back together? All that stuff is good for high profile stuff to raise its profile, get its cachet up.
It's a product,
people talking about it.
You got to hype up the product. It did what they needed. What you guys said, a shot in the arm.
I think just Doom being in there and handled well. It's one of those things. It's like Marvel has this thing with villains where they just constantly kill them off.
Right.
And they don't so they kill them off and then they're gone. You can't use them again. And now they want to bring back Brolin as King Thanos.
Oh.
So You do need Doom because Doom is an entry to Secret Wars.
Yes, Doom
right?
is the big, and you have Fantastic
in,
Four.
in both Secret Wars, Doom's pivotal. So
yes, it's a great lead into Secret Wars.
I mean, it comes down to the Downey as the Doom thing. It's good. I mean, I want to see how it plays out. I'm not willing to white it off yet because I think there is like potential storylines. I think it's a huge risk, even though I'd mentioned it's also safe. Like it's both things at the same time, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So I want to see how it plays out. It's not ideal. I wouldn't have done that. I would have gone with an evil. Like if they wanted to do that, I would have just gone with evil
Tony Stark. Yeah,
right. I also think there's a lot of potential with a Pedro Pascal RDJ interaction rivalry. So I think there's a lot of things that you could do that are interesting storyline wise. I understand why people wouldn't want that experiment to be done with Doom.
Right.
So I get everything. I understand both sides. I want to see it play out. Maybe they have an awesome idea. We'll see. I don't think they've obviously if this was something that they thought of, in 2019, everyone, I know Ruggs probably wouldn't have liked it, but I think everyone would have given Marvel the benefit of the doubt. They're coming from a place of, 5 years of pretty mediocre to bad stuff.
Yeah.
So I think people are obviously not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this stuff. So we'll see. I don't know.
Well, we all know that Robert Downey is very talented and he's going to nail it.
Awesome. Yeah.
He's going to be awesome.
And the Russo brothers can handle a bunch of characters. If they're both on board, you got to think they had a good idea.
But I feel like no matter what happens, even if he kills it and it works great, there's going to be a kind of a pang in your heart wanting him to be Tony Stark. Like, why can't he just be Tony Stark? It's like, so maybe he ends up being Tony Stark. Who knows?
The one thing I can think of is, here's the thing I thought of that might make it easier for people to get it, is maybe there's Doom is been Doom in this alternate universe for a while.
Right.
And he's like, I need to fuck up the Avengers to make Battle World or whatever. And he's like, I'm a genius. I know the way to do this is to fucking look like Tony Stark.
To look like their hero.
To look like their hero. To look like the guy that saved the universe.
Oh.
So if they go that route, there's potential there where it's not like an alternate Tony Stark.
It's not a variant. It's actually Victor Von Doom. It just looks like Tony Stark.
Yeah, he's just fucking with them, and he's like, I will.
Like he uses his mystical powers.
Yeah, he's got magic.
Change my face.
My appearance looks like this guy. That could, that I wouldn't mind that. That would not be as offensive as.
Because Doom in the comics, I mean, he is a master strategist, a master manipulator. I mean, he's everything, right? You can write Doom to be anything.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he has his background, obviously, but Doom's power set is so amazing that you can have him in one panel interact with Reed Richards and street level characters, and you can have another panel where he's beating the fuck out of Thanos. Like, he can do anything.
Yeah.
So, if you go with the angle of he's this master strategist and he wants to break the Avengers mentally by putting Tony Stark's face on his face, maybe that works. I want to see how it plays out.
Yeah. You know what? Imagine this. Imagine if they went out there and they had Cillian Murphy, Dr. Doom. It would be big, but it wouldn't have been this hit. It's kind of such a brilliant move. But
it's a move to get people talking.
And I think it'll get people in the seats. And I agree with you. It is both safe and kind of risky. But look, they've seen the new stuff hasn't been making money. That established characters, the last few movies have been making the most money. You have your hit makers. Why not rely on them? You are kind of sending the message that the way forward is to go into the past. Maybe you're cutting out opportunities for other new talent.
What about the death of Iron Man?
He stays dead.
Yeah. That
it's not going to affect that.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. They're not above bringing back characters that had a great send off, right? We just saw Logan in the movie.
Yeah,
so they're not above that.
Yeah,
they've clearly shown they're not above that. I don't know. I think it's an interesting move.
I think it's the only pivot that they could make. It's a good pivot because I'm more excited about Doom joining this than Kang than I ever was about Kang. Doom should have already been in the mix somewhere.
What do you think of Adam Driver as Doom?
He would have made a good look. Cillian Murphy, Adam Driver would have made a good Doom. He's got the big wide head, like a helmet already.
I mean, if you look at it from, and you just kind of mentioned this earlier though, Ruggs. If you look at it from Marvel's perspective, and you have movies like the Marvels that didn't make money, and Ant-Man and the Wasp or Ant-Man Quantum that didn't hit. And they're, you know, at the end of the day, studios make movies to make money.
It's a product.
Right?
Yeah, it's just desperate. It's just desperate a little bit.
But I get it. It might, and it is desperate because we know for a fact this wasn't Plan A. This wasn't even Plan B. This is probably Plan C or D because we know the Plan A was.
It's a Hail Mary pass.
Yeah. Yes, they are going with what will get butts in seats. Now, hopefully, they have a good idea, and it's not just that.
I'm still beside myself that people cheered for this. In LA. I can't believe that people who think that they're comic book fans are just jumping up and I would have at least wanted like a 2-second pause before the cheering.
I mean, in the moment, I can see you're just like,
I would say that's a little unfair. In the moment, that is a crazy thing that you can't help but react.
Yeah, because you weren't really expecting that.
No one was expecting to see RDJ under the Doom mask.
But I saw it happening online as it happened. And I just was like, my first reaction was like, no fucking way. Get the fuck out of here.
You're not feeling the geek energy in the room, though.
Yeah, it's not the same though when you're in the room. Yeah. It's like watching a movie by yourself versus watching a movie. We'll talk about later. Watching with a crowd of enthusiastic people.
But it is almost like they could have said anything at that point, and like people would have lost their shit.
Well, when they were going the greatest actor in the world, I was like,
Denzel? Who are you bringing? Who are you talking about?
Well, I saw a podcast. I listened to a podcast after, and they were like, "Are you bringing out Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yes, is he coming out of retirement to be?
Imagine him as Doom,
dude. That would have been amazing. Are you fucking kidding me? Daniel Day-Lewis coming out of retirement.
One of the things I saw online or in the podcast, the Ringerverse, is they were like. Because they probably rolled the Brinks truck to get Robert Downey Jr. So like the debate was like, well, you know, who could you else have you gotten? And it was like the guys basically said, if you can afford Robert Downey Jr. to do this, you could have gotten anybody, literally anybody, because the amount of money it would take to get RDJ to do this again means you have enough money to get anybody you want.
Yeah,
they purposely chose RDJ, so we'll see. It's great water cooler talk.
Oh my god! And as we talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine, we can see they're trying to get people used to this, and I think the stuff they did in there gave them. They're like, oh, we could just do this, but it is a Hail Mary, but it is also wild.
It's also safe,
and it's also safe, and people are going to show up, and it'll make like who's not going to want to see RDJ back in the MCU Avengers movie with the Russo? It's going to be fucking wild. I
just feel like. Every opportunity that Marvel has to actually make the stuff that's in the books, they don't do it.
So, yes.
it's annoying.
They're going to make their own thing. It's not going to follow a comic thing. But we're going to talk about the movie, but we'll talk about Deadpool Wolverine opened huge. Well, did this whole thing work for Marvel?
I think we'll talk about Deadpool and Wolverine in a second here. Yeah. But I think overall, this was a giant weekend for Marvel.
I think it's huge.
I think they I'm not going to go and say they're back.
It almost felt like
they're on their way. They're on their way. Like they did enough to be like, shit. We're trying to fucking turn.
They're trying to be relevant again.
It is the highest buzz they've had for good buzz in a long time.
Managed to get that conversation going.
The funny thing another thing I saw on the internet was like, what are they going to do? Are they going to cast Chris Evans as Magneto now?
Oh my god!
Yeah, they just bring everybody back and just switch it because now you could cast everybody as somebody else and keep making 10 more movies.
So lame. I'm sorry.
That's like they're just going to mix him up every few years.
It makes there seem like their decisions are ass backwards. Like, oh, we're going to kill these guys off. It just reeks of corporatism because this is all about business deals. It's not like Chris Evans is like, I want to be Cap until I die.
Yeah.
I love this character. Right. He's like, no, I'm done. I got made my money. I'm going to get the fuck out of this. I don't want to do this shit anymore. And then all of a sudden, well, if we give you this money, will you come back? If we give you this money, will you come back? You can even be a different character. You want to be Captain America? Yeah. Well, it just reeks of that. So,
well, RDJ. I mean, I think RDJ likes the attention. Like you can tell when he's on stage, he loves that shit. Yeah, he clams it up.
Yeah.
So I think they're definitely paying RDJ a ton of money. I also think he kind of had his little like run without Marvel. I mean, he won an Oscar.
He did win an Oscar, and there's been enough.
I think he's probably like, you know what? Fuck it. I did my auteur shit. I can come back now.
I won
and
my Oscar, and
it's
been long enough. I'm gonna dive back in because this shit pays well and it's a lot of fun.
It pays well, yeah. It's
And
a lot
it's
of fun.
another-
And maybe he thinks too, like,
Yeah.
he's a great actor, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's like, what can I do? How could I now for the next, I don't know, 10 years be the biggest villain? In
Can I
Marvel?
get people
If he pulls a Colin Farrell and goes in full makeup,
just in a fat
What
suit?
would you be into that? What if he went Colin Farrell? And
I
they'd,
think that you need to not connect the two people.
Okay.
I think that any way you slice it, if you make them look, the story, even if the story is genius, right?
Yeah.
That they figure out a way to make an alternate version of Tony Stark into Doom, Victor Von Doom, or they don't explain it at all. They just happen to look alike, just like other variants look alike, like other people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whatever, they can do that too. But I feel like any way you slice it, looking at the character and you're just seeing Tony Stark,
Yes.
Mhm.
it's weird.
But it
Yeah.
also is reminding you of the best shit Marvel had back in the day, subtly, and you're like, okay. I think he can really, if he can pull off everyone hating him as a villain, it'll be a fucking amazing triumph. Wow, it's crazy. So
they're doing something. I mean, they're doing something that's never been done on screen. If they are going the route that we all think it is, which is variant Tony Stark becomes Doom.
Yep.
We've never seen that.
No.
So
That's
Well, this is in universe too. So they've had that Chris Evans was Human Torch,
right.
all that stuff. So they've had in universe people swap to other out of universe but never in universe. They even had the small actor like Gemma, whatever.
Gemma Chan.
Yeah.
They've had a couple of people. Yeah.
But this is a major. This is like the face of the brand.
Yeah,
Right.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge any way you slice it, and it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out because I mean it can go south really quickly if it's not done. I don't know if there is a right way to do it. I just am more like someone has an idea over there that they think they can pull it off, and I want to see what happens.
And if you're a fan of Doctor Doom, I hope they can bring you justice and keep you
Right.
happy because that's going to be hard because you might get full cheated out of a Doom. Avengers Doomsday 2026, Secret Wars.
Apparently,
2027.
Shankman knew about this for a bit too.
Oh, about
The director of Fantastic Four,
about Downey.
RDJ. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. And then I just close with this. Overall, there was like 3 movies, 1 big announcement. I felt like it was kind of light, but they did do what they needed to do. I thought there'd be more things. It's interesting. There's no mention of Blade.
I think if they didn't have the Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, it wouldn't be as much of a buzz at all.
But they do put on a
Probably
show,
not.
keeping it more entertaining than the other panels.
Well, I think what Marvel obviously RDJ, you don't need to do anything when you have RDJ as the but I did like because in the past what they've been doing is they've been announcing 7 or 8 shows in TV shows and movies and a lot of that shit hasn't come out. Like a couple years ago they talked about Blade and Ironheart and all this schedule and none of that played out.
They're like, let's not do that anymore.
Yeah, I think they probably have learned a little bit, and they're like, let's not fucking announce 20 things that don't have an idea.
Yeah, you notice they didn't talk about phases. They didn't pull up the map with the lines and where the movies go. No, they didn't even talk about Blade, which they're like, you know what? We're just going to ignore it for now.
What their intent was, I think, from being there live, was they were like, we want to get across to you that everything we release is going to have a vibe.
Is it purposeful?
It has so like Captain America had the spy mystery vibe.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts had this kind of Suicide Squad vibe, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then Fantastic Four had this 60s kitschy
very
science
different.
vibe.
Yeah.
So I think what they were going with is like, hey, let's just double down on the things we've got.
Yeah.
And we'll drop this nugget at the end to keep you fucking excited.
I think it was smart. It was well structured. It's just a shift in their usual strategy. But it's fine. Like this is what
we're not going to announce 15 things because you know what?
Yeah.
When we announced 15 things, that shit didn't go well.
Yeah.
We fucked up.
Yeah.
So I can see I see the business perspective too of what they were trying
Plus,
to
you
do.
have D23 like a month away in August, and there's going to be TV announcements there. So there's a lot.
We were
more.
while that was all happening, while we were like building up to Marvel, we were going, what if this whole thing is just a big Agatha announcement? They're going, you know what? We want to show you 2 episodes of Agatha.
We're going to show you all 8 episodes right now.
I think it was smart too to not
just stick to the movies.
not do any TV yet.
No, just stick to the movies. You got so
TV.
much shit going on. Keep it clean. So it was clean. It was straightforward. All right.
Rugs.
Yeah.
Were you so? Well, we'll talk more. But I guess let's save the. I was going to say where is Rugs at on Marvel, but I think we got to ask that question after.
Yeah, we got to
Deadpool.
circle back after we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, which we are going to do in a little bit. Let's take a break here. Play some promos. Oh, the MCU geek out is not done. Deadpool and Wolverine right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Attention podcast listeners and YouTube watchers. I'm Logan, the host of Mostly Superheroes, a weekly pursuit for the world's best stories with an emphasis on live-action superhero stuff. Every week, join me, PC Mike, The Giggler, Scotty Scoop, and Carrie as we talk MCU, DCU, books, TV, movies, and more. MostlySuperheroes.com is where you want to be. Watch us on YouTube, listen where you get your podcast, and we'll see you Sunday on Patreon. Enjoy the rest of the show.
I'm Imran.
And I'm Sophia.
I'm the brother.
And I'm the sister. And we are watching a show about cousins.
We're your hosts for Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast.
We grew up watching the 80s hit sitcom, and now we'd like you to join us every week as we rediscover our love for our favorite TV cousins, Balky and Larry.
You can find our show at danceofjoypod.com and on all major podcast platforms. Now we are so happy, Sophia. We do the Dance of Joy.
Imran, this is a podcast. They can't see us.
Oh, po.
Jock and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy this show, this is a fantastic time to join our glorious maximum effort podcast fan club on Patreon. Visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon.
Jock and Nerd.
And you can give back on a monthly or annual basis and get stuff. There is access to an exclusive podcast feed where the shows come out early. Instant reactions to movies are posted there. Bonus content. Lots of fun stuff. You can join us on our monthly Discord hangouts. The next one, it will be next month, August 22nd, 2024. Thursday, August 22nd. And there's a tier where you can pick a movie. There's a tier where you get a t-shirt. We appreciate everyone's support. It keeps the show going. Join it today, jockandnerd.com/Patreon. All right, let's get into it. It is here, everybody. Oh, my.
Geek Boner.
We have been waiting.
Here it is.
Here it is. The one MCU movie, the one Marvel movie for 2024. I'm talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Full spoilers. We're going to get into it right now.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This is the 34th MCU movie. It's crazy. It's also the third Deadpool movie. It is also the first appearance of Deadpool and Wolverine in an MCU movie. It is also the 10th appearance of Hugh Jackman as Logan in 24 years. It is also the MCU's first R-rated movie.
Oh, shit.
It's a lot of things. But it is all these things. Currently, the movie on Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at a 78% critic score, tomato meter, 97% audience score. I got more numbers because as the projections were going crazy before this movie came out, you must have seen this. This movie is smashing all sorts of records. It's kind of crazy. The budget of this movie, $200 million, right? But this is how I knew it was big. Thursday previews, a good Thursday preview, it's like 10, 12 million. That's when you know the movie's doing well. This thing made $38 million on the Thursday. By Friday, it had made almost $100 million, $96 million.
Right.
It opens, and that $96 million is the biggest domestic opening of the year, and for an R-rated feature. The movie opens opening weekend domestic, $211 million.
Oh, shit.
Domestic opening. Right now, internationally, it's sitting at $444 million worldwide. It's almost made $500 million in 3 days. Holy shit. Holy shit. To put that in perspective, here's all the records it broke. It's the 6th biggest opening all time. It's the biggest R-rated opening all time. It is the biggest opening for Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Sean Levy. It's the 5th biggest superhero movie opening. It is the biggest opening for 2024. It is the biggest opening weekend since Spider-Man No Way Home in December 2021. Only 9 films in Hollywood history have crossed the $200 million mark in their opening weekends. And as you mentioned, as Feige told us already, Anthony, MCU becomes the first franchise to gross $30 billion globally. What?
Oh, shit.
What the fuck? R-rated. Clearly, the R rating didn't hurt. They have somehow managed to make like a 4-quadrant R-rated movie. It's unbelievable. Like the first Deadpool held the record for opening weekend at 133. This thing blows it away, 211. This movie directed by Sean Levy from a screenplay by Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, Paul Wernick, and Sean Levy, and Zeb Wells.
Wow.
Yes.
Many writers.
lot of writers. And I will just give you the top level cast here, as of course you've seen. There's a lot of cameos. We'll get into them. But you have Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool, Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, Emma Corrin playing Cassandra Nova, Matthew McFadden as Mr. Paradox, and then Morena Baccarin as Vanessa, Rob Delaney as Peter, Leslie Uggams as Blind Al. You got Dopinder, played by Karan Soni, coming back, and Brianna Hildebrand, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. Yukio is here, Shilo Katsuna, and Louis Tanner, Shatterstar. And if you saw the last trailer, yes, Daphne Keane as X-23. We will get into the rest of the cameos.
No Domino, though.
In a little bit. No. Oh, yeah. Where's Domino? Where's Zazie Beetz? She don't want to have anything to do with this. Anthony, I know you talked a lot, but I'm gonna go to you again. This is a tradition.
Yeah.
Tell me what happens. Deadpool Wolverine, rated R, 2 hours, 7 minutes. What happens in Deadpool Wolverine?
Oh, Deadpool Wolverine. Deadpool is at a point in his life where he doesn't know if he has any purpose, doesn't understand, doesn't know if he's of value, and just wants to be with his friends, and gets pulled into the TVA because something is happening in his universe that is causing it to end, and they need him to do some shit. And one of the things he thinks he needs to do is to reunite with Wolverine, but not the Wolverine we know, to save his universe. And mayhem ensues once that happens.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
They're on a buddy cop adventure
Yep.
to save the universe, or save Deadpool's universe.
Save Deadpool's universe, which, to be clear, is the Fox universe of movies, Marvel movies. All right, let's start with Ruggs this time. Ruggs, you take us down, and then we will bring everybody back up. What did you think?
Take us down to what?
I'm just anticipating.
Oh, you mean like anticipating criticisms that I'm going to give the
I'm going to
movie?
start with the bummer, and then we will,
Okay. Well, if you've never listened to the show before, Imran will like everything. Anthony will like certain things. I will always, no matter if I like it or not, criticize it. And that's how it works. Because I will point out things that are obvious.
No, that's what we love. That's what we need. Criticize this movie. First thoughts coming out of this. Well, how are you feeling?
I'll tell you this. If you listen to my review on the Patreon, you will know that I enjoyed myself at this movie. I actually thought it worked a lot more than it didn't. It made me laugh. It had surprises. It had cameos galore. It had humor. Some worked, some got annoying, some was fun, but all in all, it was a good time. All right. I think it's more of a movie with moments that rely on a lot. Like, for example, if you've never seen a Marvel movie in your life, like 90% of the jokes are not going to work. It's not, you have to be and if you did watch every Marvel movie, every movie that Marvel characters are in, you're going to get way more mileage out of it. As a movie, I don't know if it's really delivers what's promised, which is Deadpool in the MCU. He's tangentially because the TVA is involved, but it's still, this is all happening in the Fox world, their limbo, what do you call that? The void that they have?
The void, yes.
But no, it's like, so the actual what's happening in the movie isn't good. is not a great thing, but everything that's happening around these characters and all of this meta stuff works if you've watched all the movies. So I had a great time with it. I feel like it delivered 2 hours of entertainment. There was moments where the audience just went ballistic, where I went ballistic, where I'm going to give away a big cameo right
Let's
here.
do it. Let's start with a cameo.
All right, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
There's 2 moments in the movie where
You lost your shit.
well, number one was Chris Evans is there.
Yes.
And they fake you out into thinking that he's Cap.
It's great.
But he's really Johnny Storm.
Yes, and he's a dick. It's great.
Yeah, and he's a dick.
It's amazing.
And that whole fake out was a great moment. But the part that I almost stood out and jumped out of my seat was, if you listen to this show, you know that we love our Blade quote. And what is that Blade quote?
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
When Wesley Snipes said that, I jumped out of my seat because it was just a jock and nerd moment.
It was
I was connected to that.
I mean, first,
like, say the line, motherfucker.
When
he did.
When he walked out, I was like, oh shit. And then when he says that line, I audibly was like,
I think that he was great. I want to see him as Blade again.
Some motherfuckers still always try to
He's still Blade. He's still Blade to me.
I mean, that line where he goes on, there's only going to be one Blade.
Yes. Like, this is a meta. What a meta commentary on Mahershala Ali, and then Deadpool looks right at the camera. It's fantastic.
But then there's one other part that I lost my shit, is when he puts the fucking mask on.
That was
when I'm like, where the fuck is this mask the whole movie? Like, he went through all the Wolverines.
Yes.
And that's a whole other thing. All of those iconic.
We'll get into the Wolverine
images.
variants. Yes. No, I started clapping when he pulled his fucking cowl on. I started clapping. I went
insane
finally.
That. But then the thing is, that whole thing fizzles out. How they end that scene, it was so anticlimactic when the other guy comes dressed as Deadpool, and I was like, really? This is how they end the scene? Like, they couldn't figure out a cool way to write the scene ending?
What are you talking about? They had a big fight scene. And then all the Deadpool boys show up.
And then a guy with a mustache shows up, and then everybody just stops fighting.
And they all regenerate, so you can just like stab the fuck
They're
out
like,
of them.
we all love our Peter.
Yeah, and then Peter is the best in every universe. They're like,
I don't know. That was dubious.
Enjoy my Peter.
Everybody likes their Peter.
Anthony, now I need to know about your experience. You saw this in San Diego.
I did.
How did this
so originally, I was like, we're not going to have time. I'm not going to see it till Monday.
Right.
And my buddy Rex was like itching to see it.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's see it Friday morning. And then I finally realized we have a small window from 8 to 10 on Thursday where we could go see it.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it. We got to go see it because we're going to get spoiled. We got to see it. So me, Chris, and Rex saw an 8 p.m. showing in San Diego on Thursday. And the theater was, electric.
It had to be crazy.
Sitting in that movie theater before it even started, people were cheering when freaking
Happy Hogan.
No. What's the actress's name?
Oh,
from
Nicole
AMC?
Kidman.
When she comes, because they were doing the whole intro, and I literally went, "No, Nicole Kidman," and then she shows up, and everyone's like, "Whoa!"
People love the Nicole Kidman now for some reason. They're not annoyed.
The energy in that theater, was a factor. Overall, I had a blast with me. I ended up seeing it again today.
Nice.
Before the podcast, just to kind of, and I still walked out with a smile. It's obvious. There are some movies. I'll put it like this, and I think you said this in your instant reaction, Imran. Marvel, when it comes to putting on event films, no one does it better.
How much did you miss that? I missed that. We haven't had that.
I loved that shared that is part of watching a movie. Like, that's one of the benefits of watching a movie in a movie theater with a bunch of fans that have been on the ride since 2008, right? Or even longer, because this unexpectedly was a Fox tribute.
Yes,
it was like a
love letter to the Fox Marvel movies,
right?
Absolutely.
So I think it ended up being so the movie was a great time.
Yeah,
it's funny. There's some good action. It's irreverent. Yeah. It's a tribute to Fox. Unexpectedly, there's some great cameos. There's some great lines. It makes for a very enjoyable experience, especially being amongst a sold out San Diego crowd. Calling it out. The plot is paper thin.
Yeah.
The plot is paper thin. Yeah. It's all based on Deadpool being written to join in 2018, want to join the Avengers.
Yeah.
And you know, Ruggs talked about the ending of that one scene. It's just a collection of like, let's travel from one scene to another, and none of it really, like, you know, Cassandra Nova, her character flips on a dime, goes from releasing them to wanting to destroy the world.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of inconsistencies in the plot. I don't care.
Yeah.
The plot,
that being said, you were there.
I don't care.
No.
I don't care because there's plenty of movies that are just good times that have very flimsy plots.
Yeah.
I think the movie has enough.
It's okay because it's a comedy,
right? It's also it's okay. It's a comedy. It's also okay because it's a Deadpool fourth wall breaking comedy, right?
Yes.
So there's things you can get away with in this type of movie that you could not get away with in anything else. So on that note, I had a blast with it. I think it's a really, really fun time. I think the movie also had a lot of heart. The unexpected Fox tribute stuff was really, you know, like, we all want to write our ending. They kept saying that, you know, we didn't get the ending again because we never even got a chance, you know, like the Gambit reveal.
God.
There's so many things, you know, you're not, it's a movie that rewards you not only for being a Marvel fan, but for being there from the beginning when, superhero movies were trying to figure out how to even crawl.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of heart there, and I think it's made with a lot of care. There are times when you go into movies and you're not going to get Schindler's List. You're not going to get something awesome like that in a storyline sense. And that's okay. There's like, this is a movie that is made for the fans.
Absolutely. By fans.
And was a love letter to something that I wasn't expecting it to be.
Yeah.
And I had a great time with it.
That's as a counterpoint to that. I just want to squeeze this in real quick.
Yeah.
In my theater, there was a guy with his pregnant wife.
Oh shit!
Sitting next to me.
Oh jeez.
No.
And I don't think she's seen maybe more than 2 or 3 Marvel movies.
Okay.
She had no idea what was going on, and she was constantly asking, "Who's that? Why are people cheering for who? What's that? I don't know. Why is that funny?" Yeah. So she was like, kind of. So I felt like hearing that response. I was like, "Oh, if you don't watch these movies and you go to this movie, you're going to a lot of it's going to fly over your head."
I was surprised at how so inside some of this shit is. Like the Gambit thing, you would have to been following like Entertainment Geek News to even get that. And I heard people when he came out asking, why is everybody cheering for him? So, but on the other hand, I felt like this movie was made for me.
For me, who has been there,
yes, it was made.
Everything
for me.
worked. I knew every reference. I knew every single thing.
Yes,
and it really was like they made the movie for, you know, nerds that have been, you know, made fun of their whole life for reading this shit.
You combine the cameos that actually have substance with the Easter eggs, with the swearing, the filthy jokes, the irreverence. It's so fantastically bloody. It is a crowd pleaser. And I think the movie delivered what I wanted out of it, which is just a good time. But you guys are right. The movie is carried entirely by these two characters. The plot is whatever, but the plot is just a structure for these guys to have a good time. They have such great chemistry. I know they've been friends a long time. I'm surprised they hadn't made a movie before.
Real quick, and just real quick, and then I'll let you keep going.
Yeah.
Because we're on that note of the plot. Like, it's a hangout movie. It reminded me, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino was a hangout movie. Like there's movies like this.
Yep.
That didn't do because there's a lot of like foo-foo shit online where people are like, how could you like this? This is there's plot sucks. I was like, get your finger out of your asshole.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
There's sometimes movies are made just to entertain, and this one is that kind of movie.
I mean, like you said, it's a buddy cop movie. It's two characters that are going to clash, and you know it's going to be funny. It's a hangout movie. It's a journey.
Well, let's try and analyze these characters real quick.
Okay, where do you want to start?
That's where a lot of the movie works.
Yeah.
All right. So Wade Wilson is the Merc with the mouth, Deadpool. He finds out the TV. He's working as a car salesman with his friend
after being rejected by the Avengers.
He was rejected by the Avengers. He's kind of like trying to live this normal life.
Yeah.
But the TVA shows up and starts fucking with him, brings him back to the TVA and says, look, the Wolverine is the anchor being to this universe. And since he's dead, all the rest of this universe, which you and your friends exist in, is going to disappear.
Slowly.
Yes. So you can have I'll give you the opportunity to save them, right? Is that what happens?
The opportunity was, Paradox basically says you have the opportunity to join the sacred timeline. Everyone else is going away.
So he's playing up to what he wants, right? He's like, you'll finally matter. You want it to matter. That's how you matter.
Because he goes, you're important down the line.
Yeah, they hint that he's important in the future several times, which is kind of interesting. So Paradox doesn't want to wait, makes a time ripper. He's like, I'm going to do this right away. They don't know what he's doing. So he's like, fuck off. Let me go get a Wolverine, which, I mean, I love, listen, I don't even know how to talk about this because the whole.
So he thinks he can take a Wolverine and stick it back into the timeline and everything will be fine.
Okay, which kind of is where they ended up, essentially.
Well, they do not genius thing, but they do something, right? Because everyone was like, how are you going to make Wolverine in this when you're desecrating the legacy of Logan?
Yeah.
So they open the movie, with him literally digging a fucking body out of Logan from the last movie, and using that body to beat the fuck out of people.
It's amazing.
Over bye.
Set to Instinct's bye. Probably one of the
right off the bat
greatest openings I've ever seen.
Yes, right off the bat, I went, "Oh, I'm in. I'm in." With him,
it makes a joke out of everything, right? Yeah. So right off the bat, they're playing off that
irreverence.
Yes,
and the bloody kills and the way he's so when he hit
the cutscenes when he's dancing, I was like, "This is
that's fantastic." That's a different guy too. Like they got to dance, but they do the exact choreography from the video. And then that moment where he has the Wolverine's claws on and it's stuck in one guy's ass and the other guy's groin, and he's like, "I'm sorry," and they're like, "Make this stop!" It's hilarious. Come on,
my theater went nuts when he puts the claws on, unsheaths them, and then the title card comes on.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh my god!
And a great that's where you go back and find out the story, and it comes back to that.
Right. But this Wolverine.
So the Fox, that Wolverine from Logan is dead.
Yeah, we get a Wolverine in this that's basically a loser, and they do a whole montage of different Wolverines.
Let's
that
go
you guys
over the montage.
About
yes. Okay. Well, the first one is comic accurate short King Wolverine, which was hilarious.
I did laugh.
Hugh Jackman.
They made him a little shorter than he should have been.
They exaggerated it.
I think they made him 4 feet.
He's like 5 something.
They could have made him look a little just more stocky, but to get the point across, he's like, "Who's my little short King?" Yes, you are. Then we see Patch, which is another classic Wolverine.
Which one's Patch?
With the eye patch and the white suit from he's in Madripoor.
That's the one with him and Hulk on the cover, right?
No. Then you see in the John Byrne. Yes,
the one where he's leaning up against Hulk and they're both wearing suits.
Yeah, that's the John Byrne brown costume, and he does the thing with the claws, and you see the reflection.
No.
And Ruffalo's
the Patch one. Sorry.
Oh,
the
Patch is when he works. Yes,
there's a cover of him and Hulk. Gray Hulk leaning against each other, and they're both wearing the white suits.
Was that Mr. Fix-It Hulk or something? I forgot what his name is.
Yeah.
Then you see Wolverine on the cross. This probably confused a lot of people. This is a classic cover.
That's from the Reavers.
X-Men 251, the Fever Dream storyline from 1989. Then you see a Wolverine that's got one hand, and he's just beating the shit out of him. That is Age of Apocalypse Wolverine from a 1995 storyline. Yes, and John Byrne Wolverine. And then we finally end up on this drunk Wolverine in the bar.
No, you're missing one.
Oh, who else is in there?
I cut you off. The brown and tan one got a huge reaction from our audience.
Yeah.
You're missing Henry Cavill Wolverine.
Oh, and then a great, fantastic cameo, the Cavalrine. Holy shit. First of all, he looked amazing. And then he fucking cocks his arms like in Mission Impossible as the blades come out. I was like, fuck off. That's amazing. Why can't he be cast as Wolverine? I think he would be great.
Till you're 90.
Yeah, he's like, Disney dug him up. They're going to make him do this till he's 90. The Cavalry, he's like, I speak for everyone, sir, when this is just perfect. And he looked great. Like, that's a better cameo than this Superman Black Adam cameo. That's a better cameo than all of Argyle right there. It's amazing. So good. So
it was good. It was fun. It was fun. It was a fun little montage of all the Wolverine.
And he sees he's wearing the suit, and he's like, "Oh, finally! It's only been 20 years." And he brings him back, and Paradox is like, "You are the worst. Wolverine. You are the worst Wolverine."
The reason why he's the worst Wolverine isn't good either.
So we find out later when she goes in his head, he was drunk at the bar.
That's it.
And all these people came and killed the X-Men.
Really?
And when he showed up, it was too late, and he got so mad, he took out the bad guys and innocent people and killed everyone, I guess.
He went crazy. Well, I think they're also hinting that like he had plenty of Charles kept giving him chances to be a part of the team, and he kept like
fucking up.
He just kept getting drunk. He kept.
I just feel like that's super convenient writing.
It's a little convenient. It's a little contrived. And he was, I never wore the suit, but then this is why he wears the suit now to.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
And he doesn't. Well, he doesn't wear the suit because he didn't want them thinking that he wanted to be there. That's what he says. He says Scott kept begging me to wear the suit, but I didn't want them to think I wanted to be there. But he clearly loved them. And
I couldn't think of a better thing though. It was so bad.
Wait,
it's terrible.
Going back a second, that scene where he gets his suit, first of all, is hilarious with all the slapping of the ass and the groin, and the suit looks great. But he sees Thor. He sees the Dark World with him Thor cradling his head, and he's like, "Why is Thor crying?" I thought that was weird. That's got to be something they're hinting at. I don't know what he's.
I think it was just a bit. Throughout the thing, he keeps imagining that he's with Thor. He wakes up from like being knocked out. Thor.
Yeah, he's always dreaming of Thor. When he comes back from the suit, he's like, "This suit's amazing. By the way, your tailor is a predator." And he just keeps talking. And then that guy that catches him, he's like, "We calling your wife?" He's like, "Oh, I'm calling human resource HR." It's like, "Does your wife work in HR?" This guy knows what I'm talking about. So he brings the worst Wolverine, and Paradox promptly prunes him. I love Matthew McFadden as Paradox. He was really fun. I did not expect him to be like a bad guy, like a rogue TVA agent, as one of the bad guys. I thought that worked. And he was funny.
He's funny. And I mean, at this point in the movie, I mean, if you're here, you like Ryan Reynolds, but I think another part of your enjoyment for this movie is how much do you enjoy Ryan Reynolds' humor? Because Ryan Reynolds' humor is full blast. I mean, just all about ass play and like dick jokes and being tagged, like
rapid fire.
It's just one after the other, and you know, inside jokes. So you have to, if you find Ryan Reynolds grating, this is not your movie.
No, because it's coming fast and quick. I do think he is the perfect person. This role is just, he's perfect in this role, and Jackman is perfect in this role, and it was so good to see him back as Logan.
Well, that's a thing that works, I think. In Ruggs, you brought up, analyzing the characters. I think Wolverine's character, Jackman does that role so well, and Wolverine's character can play the straight man to Deadpool, so it's not foil. Even though they're two different characters, they kind of work well off of each other. So I think that made it, it contributes to the enjoyability of the movie.
The dynamic is like he can't stand Deadpool, but he's working with him.
Chemistry is fantastic too. Every time they talk. So they fight a couple of times. We get the first fight in the void, which is kind of fun. He has adamantium swords, Deadpool. A lot of stabbing, but it is two guys who can stab the shit out of each other, and like ultimately nothing's going to happen. So it's a good thing because you can do crazy shit. And then this is when we get the Chris Evans cameo, which is hilarious because when Deadpool's like, "Oh my God, he's going to say it. He's going to say it." He's like, "Avengers." And then he goes, "Flame on." It's like, wait, what now? And it was just perfect.
They fooled me.
Because they put the stripes on his arm. Also, when you just see his arm, I love the whole.
Yeah, he has some red on his arm and everything.
Yeah,
also when they introduced Deadpool to the Sacred Timeline, the first images you see are Cap. So it implants in your brain that Cap is in the movie.
That's right. Oh, that's right. They were showing you all the Captain America movies.
Right.
Great bait and switch, but what a full circle moment for Chris Evans from his first superhero role back to this. It was probably they saw this and they were like, you know what? We could get Robert Downey Jr. back. This works. It's the same thing. But
a little different.
Pyro takes him out, and it's so funny because he lands on his nuts and then just fucking slams down real hard. And they get captured. Oh, wait. And he fights Sabretooth. Quick fight. Taylor-made. Cuts his head right off. He does the Mad Max lines where he's like, "Look at your queen, Furiosa." It's kind of funny. He's like, "We can't talk about it." Then we meet Cassandra Nova, and I really loved Emma Corrin as this character. She's charismatic. I love her accent. She seems unhinged and evil enough. And they do go with the
She seems pretty OP, as the kids would say.
What does that mean exactly?
Overpowered.
Oh, yes. She's very OP because she tells us she's Charles Xavier's twin and was pruned in the womb or as an infant, or in the comics, Charles kills her in the womb. It's all fucking crazy. But I thought
that X-Men shit could get real weird.
Yeah, I mean, they fucked up their own timeline, so it doesn't even matter. But she's telling us about all the variants that show up there, and she's just playing with them. I thought she was great. I liked. She does flip weird at the end, and then
what did you wait before you get to the next part?
Yeah,
I just want to call out some of the cameos you see. So you see, obviously, you see Sabretooth, but you see Pyro. You mentioned,
Toad.
You see Toad.
Yeah,
you see Juggernaut.
Yeah, you see Juggernaut.
You see Calypso, is that the Callisto?
Yeah.
The girl with the purple hair that played
Azazel.
Olivia.
Yeah.
Azazel. Who's Olivia Munn's character?
That was it Psylocke? Is it supposed to be Psylocke?
Psylocke. You see Psylocke.
Yeah.
I don't think that's Psylocke. I think it's some other character.
Lady Deathstrike.
Lady Deathstrike is there. I think it was Psylocke because she had the purple streak
and
in her
that
hair.
big dude was the Blob, apparently. The guy.
The Blob. You also see not Kevin Nash playing him from Punisher, but you see the Russian.
Oh, the
giant Russian.
Yes, the Russian from the Punisher movie. Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure who that was.
They mentioned the Punisher, don't they?
Yes, they do. When he goes.
They mentioned the Punisher.
It's like 5 of them.
It was the Void characters didn't really get to do a lot. I thought it was interesting. They're just kind of there. You see Azazel popping in and out. You see Toad's tongue.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
they're just fighting.
They're just background villains.
Like just none of those fodder.
But they're all in the Void, and Deadpool gets Johnny Storm killed because he tells her what he said on their way over. And this is a hilarious scene because he's like, I don't even know what those words mean. I would never say that. And then she just pulls the skin right off her fucking body. That was disturbing.
The reaction in the crowd was like, "Whoa, fuck!"
And then it's just because then the pile of good thing just drops. I was like, "Holy shit!" And then I love how they escape on a sentinel leg last minute as Eliath. I love Eliath and all the meta. Deadpool's like, "Eliath's in here? You mean from Loki season 1, episode 5?" It's just whenever they do stuff like that, it's fucking hilarious. Cassandra Nova, when she puts her fingers in people's heads, it's
that's creepy as
hella
fuck.
disturbing. But this is a Grant Morrison creation. This is why she's so weird. And in the comics, that's exactly what they drew it. Frank Quietly drew it just like that, where it's just finger, and it's so fucking unnerving. Every time.
It is.
Every
time that would happen, I could feel people around me be like, God. So I think that leads to one of my favorite scenes in the movie, having watched it twice. Yeah. Is when they're in the car and Deadpool's basically lied to Wolverine and said, you can save your universe with the TVA.
Yeah. He was
and Wolverine's like, what the fuck? And basically he goes, I made an educated wish. They have the whole discussion. And then Wolverine goes off on him. Well, he goes, first off, he say one more word and he says like gubernatorial. I forget.
Gubernatorial. That's funny.
And then Wolverine just goes off on him and he tells him how much of a loser he is. And then they have the car fight, and the car fight legitimately reminded me of the Raid 2 when they fight in the car.
Oh yeah,
I thought it was that almost that well done. Obviously, it's a comic book, but I thought it was a very creative fight to have them like continually fighting in the car, getting kicked out, and then jumping back into the car to fight.
The car fight is bloody. There's some hilarious lines, like because there's the whole Honda Odyssey thing where because he's selling cars, and then he's like, I take it back. That Honda Odyssey fucks after it's all bloody. Ruggs, what'd you think of that whole section? This is also where we meet Nice Pool and Dog Pool.
Oh yeah,
I like Nice Pool and I like Dog Pool. I feel like they overdid it with Dog Pool a little bit.
It was a little padded out. Like you didn't really
they
that much
padded
slow
it out a little bit. It could have been short and sweet. Yeah. But that whole scene where they go and they see whatever her name is, Xavier.
Cassandra Nova.
Cassandra, what's her name?
Cassandra Nova.
Yeah.
Cassandra Nova. I felt like I was like a little underwhelmed by that. Like she was cool, but all those, as I said, the cannon fodder that's just there, they didn't really do much. They were just kind of like there. Once they get into this kind of part of the movie, I actually think without that fight being cool, I feel like this is where it starts to like kind of be a little weaker. And Dog Pool and Nice Pool come along and
Nice Pool.
It's good for a laugh. I feel like they went on a little too long with it, but then they get to the cool part.
Yes,
one of the cool scenes. I don't like how they resolved it, but I liked how everything up until the way they resolved it. I love this whole next scene that comes up where they end up in front of Layfield's feet
Yeah. No, you're jumping way ahead.
Am I?
Yeah, first we meet the resistance team in the void.
Oh,
the others.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Which consists of Daphne Keene's X-23, Jennifer Garner's Elektra, Wesley Snipes' Blade, and Channing Tatum Gambit. And if you don't know about the Gambit thing, he was trying to make a Gambit movie for many years. Almost
they had him out at Hall H.
They had him in like 2015 come out. Almost happened, and then Disney buys Fox, and the whole thing. He's been trying to be Gambit for 10 years, and the way they handled this was fucking hilarious because every joke is about how nobody really wanted it, and it never got made, and you can't understand what the fuck he's saying. Where Deadpool's like, "Who's your dialect coach? The Minions?"
I am glad. I might be in the. I did not see those two coming when Ruggs mentioned Blade coming out. When Blade and then Gambit came out, I was legitimately shocked. Like, oh my god, that just happened.
Well, Gambit is the most egregious one because he never even existed. Like there was a Taylor Kitsch Gambit,
right?
And they sidestepped over that and they went for the funnier Never Done Gambit, which the movie never came out. So that's really a deep cut. A lot of people didn't get that one. Well, but you need. Everyone said you had to read like some weird.
Know
internet.
This was happening. I thought he made a really good Gambit. He looked good in that suit, and it was hilarious.
This is the part though in the movie that like where the heart comes out because they are all like, yeah, we'll help you because we never got the ending we deserve.
Yeah, it's like Avengers.
It's very meta, right? You know, Elektra, obviously. Blade and then Gambit's like, I never even had a story. I never had a chance.
Yes, it's like he's like maybe I was born in the void. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like my daddy shot me out of his dick when and I was ready. Or something
he's
like that.
Are you ready? He's like, I don't know my daddy, but I shot out of his dick ready. I love at the beginning. He's like, oh, Remy Le begging to Gambit, and Deadpool's like, I haven't seen Sling Bait in a while. I'm gonna need that again, there, buddy. And he's just like, who's your dialect coach? His lines were so funny.
His lines were great. They also threw in a line. This is where they mentioned the Punisher because Daphne Keene's there and Wolverine or Deadpool's like, we need to go over there and like that's their chance to get out.
It's fucking
and he's rallying the troops and everyone's like, let's do it. And but they're at first they're like, this is crazy. They go, people have tried and failed. The Gambit goes, the Punisher, the Silver Surfer, and even the Daredevil. They all lost. And then like they cut to Garner and they're like, sorry, and she's like, it's okay,
it's fine.
Because they obviously dated in real life.
They divorced. It's so funny. Deadpool's like, I'm sorry about Daredevil.
I wish there was a Punisher Thomas Jane cameo because I would have like been like, oh my god, this is crazy.
I love every time he finds out somebody's dead. He's just like, fuck. He's like, we need help about that. No, dead. Fuck. But man, so the Blade, the Gambit, and the Johnny Storm, I didn't know those were in here. That fucking got me.
What if they got the Dolph Lundgren Punisher?
They could have kept going. I kind of wish there was more.
I would have been amazed.
They could have kept going. Awesome. You got Ghost Rider out there. And Blade's not even like Fox. That was like New Line, but now they have the rights. So to see fucking Wesley Snipes, and he says the fucking line. So here's the team, and they're gonna go attack. So, and then there's that emotional moment where Logan's like, "Have fun, good luck, I'm not coming," and he meets with Daphne Keene.
That scene I thought like adds to the heart because Daphne X-23 is basically like, "Hey," because this is the X-23 from the Logan universe, and she's basically like, going,
"You remind me,
hey, like first off." Like you remind me of it, like thank you, you given me my life, you've saved a lot of kids' life, and he's like, no, that's not me. And then she gives the whole line of, you were always the wrong guy until you weren't. And I thought I still think that like whole scene. That's like why even though the plot's kind of shit, they have these heartful moments that like you able to jump from one scene to the next where it's like a heartfelt moment, a joke, or a great action scene, or a cameo. Where it just like. It's entertaining all along the way.
And Hugh Jackman nails it. Like you buy that his tears and his emotions. Like he does a really good job selling it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they show up. They roll up back to Paul. Paul Rudd aged. That's another great line. They show up and he's in the back and they get out.
Bring him out.
Oh yes, T.I.'s bring him out is great. And they fucking this is a badass team. And they start
when they do the cut where it's all five of them together. I was like, I was like, I'd never imagined seeing these 5 characters together on screen.
You got Wolverine, X-23, Elektra, Blade, Gambit, Deadpool. Wow.
6.
Wow, 6. And yeah, Gambit was cool. Like, and you see Blade using his fucking boomerang weapon from the movies. X-23 is fucking getting the.
He's 61 years old and he was doing the kicks.
Yeah, he's doing the kicks.
He's
shooting. He's fucking looking badass. X-23 is trying to get the Juggernaut. This is the Juggernaut from X-Men 3, The Last Stand. Different actor, but same helmet. She gets the helmet to them, so now
cuts his feet off.
Oh my god, she slices his ankles. That's the only way to stop the Juggernaut, I guess. That was very graphic. And
shout out to Daphne Keane, by the way. She's looking fantastic. She's grown up.
She all grew up. She grew up. She looks great. I mean, I thought Jennifer Garner looked pretty good too.
Oh, she looked good too.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
Even Wesley, what did you say? He's 70?
No, he's like, is he 70?
Wesley is 61.
61.
Oh, okay. Well, he looks great. He slid right back into that role.
Oh, absolutely. It was amazing seeing him as Blade. So what about this plot point? They're fighting Cassandra Nova. She's in Logan's head as a distraction. Deadpool gets the helmet on her, and they have a chance to kill her. And Logan says this is not what Charles would have want. Trying to change, trying to be better. You know, he would have wanted me to save your life, and they let her go, and she doesn't kill them. Pyro, meantime, is working for Paradox, shoots her. And that's a great moment where he's like, "You have no idea how long," and Wolverine just punches him. He's like, "Not everybody gets a speech." Just goes out. It's so funny. He started a monologue. He just fucking decks him. So they had a chance to kill her, but they let her live. She lets them live. And
I found that to be weak.
Yeah, it was a little convoluted. And then they have like 20 seconds to jump through the portal before Eliath comes.
She gives them Doctor Strange's sling.
She has one. Yes.
She has one because of a Doctor Strange. But 2 seconds before they appeal to her heart, she literally is like, if you take off my helmet, the first thing I'm doing is killing you. I'm boiling your brains.
Yeah,
that's what she says.
It's like, why are you
and then to have Wolverine appeal to her humanity by appealing to the fact that Logan liked him.
Or your brother. No,
I think whoever wrote that scene also wrote the Acolyte. So
he's trying to say your brother would have loved you if you.
Yeah, but she has no relationship to her brother.
She has no idea. She was pruned and she's been there.
And she's been, you can tell it's bad writing because literally the next scene she's in, she wants to destroy the entire universe.
Yes. So
she's been written to this point to be just a megalomaniac, like an insane person that has no concept of like humanity at all.
Right.
And she has some humanity there for some reason.
So now they get back to the Fox universe to stop Paradox of the Time Ripper, except she also shows up. And now she wants to destroy every other universe except for the Void, which kind of doesn't make sense because if you're in this universe, you destroy it. How the fuck?
How do things get to the
Void? Getting out? Yeah. Where are you going? So
also, it doesn't make sense. Not that she can't get out. It's the shit that gets to the Void is from all the other universes.
Yeah. So I guess all of it.
So she destroys all the other universes. There's nothing else she can play with in the Void.
No, or if she destroys the universes, don't they all go into the Void and then all be there?
No, that's pruning.
Oh, that's only if you're pruning. Yeah. See, it's unclear. They play loosey goosey with it. So to distract them and to stall, she orders the Deadpool Corps to show up and kind of slow them down. And now, here we go. Deadpool Corps cameos are as such. You do have Blake Lively voicing Lady Pool. That was her voice. Matthew McConaughey was the voice of that cowboy Pool. Nathan Fillion was the voice of the head Pool. And their kids, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively's kids, Inez and Olin Reynolds, played Kid Pool and Baby Pool. And then he even had a Welcome to Wrexham cameo. Paul Mullins was Welsh Pool. Then you have Dog Pool and you have Nice Pool, who we learned does not regenerate in a hilarious scene.
Great.
That was great. When him getting shot and not being able to regenerate.
He's like, why'd you do that? It's like, what are you going to regenerate? The guy goes, regenerate? And blood's just coming out of his mouth. And he's just holding him up there.
And then he just uses him again.
He uses him again as a shield. He's just holding him up.
He keeps telling them, say it out loud. I'm going to live.
I was like, is this a parody of some movie? I couldn't tell. But then they go through, it's a great scene, side scrolling as Deadpool and Wolverine.
It's the way they shot.
He's got the mask on.
And then he pulls the mask on. what do we think of
It's an old boy fight scene.
Yeah, it's old boy scrolling. You even get a little Stan Lee cameo on the side of the bus. It was Stan Lee's steamer. It's kind of funny. What did you think of the mask itself, the fit? Because it looked great, but in comics, everything, you could just draw a line and it's like a mask and it's skin tight and the silhouette is perfect. I thought that's about as good as that thing could look in real life with taking into account that.
Hey, it looked good enough for me.
There was a head in there.
Wow.
Okay. Oh,
I thought it looked all right. I also went, I can see why they didn't do the mask because you got to have the eyes move around at least. I think it was weird with the white eyes not moving around. It's tough to really believe that he can see anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Deadpool has, and they kind of animate those. What does he say? What's the speed limit on those blowjob wings? He's like, I'm sorry. I get catty when I'm nervous. So you get, you meet all these Deadpools and they all get killed. And then, but don't worry, they're fine because they all regenerate. It's just not Nice Pool for some reason. And then Peter shows up and they fuck off to stop Cassandra Nova. And Paradox tells them you just have to go down there and complete the circuit and it'll overload and it will blow. And I loved it when Deadpool sees the Time Ripper first. He's like, what in the MacGuffin is that? That's it. That's exactly what it is. And so they bicker about who they do the thing. We're like, I'm going to go. No, you go. No, you live. And then he lets Wolverine go, but then he hits him on the head and then he goes. And then Wolverine does eventually get in there. And you get a great shirtless man. He looked great. Hugh Jackman shirtless.
For 53 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see Deadpool lean over and he looks at us and looks at the abs. It's great. And they overload it, and the thing's starting to spaghetti out like we've seen in the things, and it explodes. She apparently explodes and dies. I guess I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. No. They've saved the universe, and they both. Well, the thing was, if one of you does it, you'll die. But the fact that they both did it together.
That's right. We were able to survive it.
They kind of aped what they've done. That was exactly what they did in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Yes.
Remember they all
they had to hold hands with the stone.
Power.
Yeah. Oh my God. That is the fucking Guardians.
But it kind of works. I mean, it is what it is.
Paradox gets arrested. They go to eat shawarma, and Deadpool's like, the Avengers invented shawarma. It's kind of funny. And so now apparently they go back to the Fox universe, and they let Daphne Keane join them, and Logan is there. And Fox universe
you're
no
missing
longer dying.
You're missing why they did that.
Why it happened?
Because Deadpool goes at the end to the girl from TVA. He goes, I have some buddies back there that didn't get a chance to get a proper ending. Can you send them back? And she's like, yeah. So all those people get to go back, and then he asks if Wolverine can get the past changed. She's like, no. I made him who he is now.
Yeah, and he's okay with that. And that was a nice line. That was a nice touch.
Nice. Yeah. But I guess he gets to live in the Fox universe.
So he's now the anchor being, and are anchor beings different than Nexus beings? Are they just making up another fucking thing? Because then who's the anchor being in the 616? Wouldn't you imagine it would be like Tony Stark or Wanda, and they're both dead?
You're thinking about it too much. It's not that.
Yeah, you got anchor beings,
got
Nexus beings.
They're just making shit up at this point.
Yeah, this whole...
But
when I went into this movie, I thought that we were going to get the universe melding where the Marvel universe can now, I guess, start incorporating the X-Men and all this other Fox stuff. But there's still a division. I feel like
so they left this in a way. This is an MCU movie that has Deadpool and Wolverine in it. Deadpool and Wolverine not necessarily in the MCU. I mean,
they're not in the sacred timeline.
They're not in the sacred timeline. Deadpool's there only in 2018. Logan never even goes to the sacred timeline. This was entirely a love letter to Fox and kind of closure, but they left it in a way that if this movie bombed, they could just write this off. But now they can always, they're going to be in Secret Wars. They can always pop over. The Fox universe is still technically alive. It's Earth 10,005. They can pop over and grab these people. And they have their own set of heroes. And is that where the X-Men are going to come? Yeah, they didn't really do anything to set that up. It is a standalone movie. So let's get to the first credit thing.
So wait, did we ever just establish if in Deadpool's world the X-Men exist?
Yes, the Deadpool universe.
And they're not all dead?
They're
just never been seen?
Is the X-Men?
They exist. Yeah, they exist. I don't know if where they're at, but they exist.
We don't know which X-Men they are, though.
We don't know which ones are still around because we know that Wolverine obviously is dead.
So in the Marvels where we saw Beast in that other universe, is that this same? Was that 10,005? Logan,
Hey,
even for
listen.
a while, wasn't supposed to be in the Fox universe. That was going to be in a different thing.
Listen,
It's a mess.
This, I know what the movie teased.
Yeah.
Which I get why Ruggs was a little disappointed. I think the movie teased that, but it's not meant to be. It's not meant to answer any of those questions.
No, it's not. What
it's not trying to.
What it's meant to do is make you nostalgic for the Fox movies. During the credits, they play this lovely video set to the tune of Green Day's. What's that song called? It's the sappy, emotional, nostalgic song.
Time of Your Life.
The Time of Your Life, and they running back.
That was nice.
Behind the scenes clips from the X-Men movies, the Fantastic Four movies, the Blade movies, and Daredevil. You see how young fucking Hugh Jackman was in the beginning. It's kind of crazy. He was.
Shut up for a second, real quick.
He was unknown.
I think I liked that because I just want to go on a little Fox rant right here.
Yeah,
we've done this podcast for 9 years. We've done our fair. 10 years. We've done our fair share of shitting on Fox and all that stuff. But I do want to give Marvel and Fox credit. Like, they were releasing these movies when no one knew how to do it.
Yep.
Like, and I know it's easy to be in hindsight, be like, why didn't you just do it like the comments?
Yep.
But they were trying to figure it. It was like, it was the Wild West in terms of doing this stuff. So while a lot of those movies ended up sucking, they were still a pivotal part of like the journey that we've all been on watching watching comic books evolve from the medium of comics and TV to movies. So like it's nice to see that Marvel was like, hey, we're going to take this movie to kind of almost shit on ourselves, but also prop up, because multiple times they're like, the multiverse sucks. It's not been working. It's not like Deadpool says it.
Yep.
But they did a good job of like not shitting on Fox. I mean, like, you know what? Fox like had a pivotal role in all of this stuff and all, even though a lot of these movies sucked, some of them are really good. And we should honor the fact that like a lot of talented people were involved in making these things, and that these are all part of the history, whether they be good or bad.
It's where Feige cut his teeth. He started on those X-Men movies, right? Blade ushered in a whole thing when that came out. It was amazing that they could do that. It's definitely a direct line to where we are. And yeah, it was just lovely that they get their little tribute.
Even you get the Fantastic Four and Daredevil and Elektra, and like those movies weren't great, but
yeah,
no one never did that.
Yeah.
No, we'd never seen them before.
Fox walks so Marvel can fly.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they even talk about how like they wore black leather because the Matrix was big and they didn't want to go crazy, and they didn't let anybody read the comics. That's why they needed Feige as a PA assistant, whatever, to fill in everything. Like, it's definitely in the DNA, and it was great. Then you get a post credit scene, an actual post credit scene, and we find out that Deadpool was not lying about what Johnny Storm said about Cassandra Nova on the way over, as he does in the amazing rant. And then I just love Deadpool just going, "Gotcha, fuckface," and it just cuts to black. He's like, what does he say? I wrote some of it down. There's something about juggernuts.
Oh, he just goes off.
He's like, "I won't be happy until I've urinated on a freshly barbecued corpse and fucked the charred remains or gargling juggernuts. And he's like, "And you can quote me." And Wade's like, "You go, girl." He's like, "Holy shit, you're crazy."
It's because we're so used to Chris Evans as Cap.
He's such a dick. It's great.
We didn't, we forgot how he played Johnny Storm.
See, it's perfect. RDJ is going to play a bad guy. It's a great flip. It's a great, but you can do it. You just make him a dick.
It's a little different.
And Johnny Storm he was a dick in those movies, which is it's great to see Chris Evans back. Some of the lines we didn't go over where he goes, "Welcome to the MCU. You're joining at a bit of a low point." It's fucking fantastic.
It's true.
With the guy in the beginning, the TVA guy's like, he was the only good thing to come out of Canada. And then Deadpool's like, "Get my country's name out of your fucking mouth." Just like Will Smith. We did that one. Oh, there are 206 bones in the human body. 207 if I'm watching Gossip Girl, which is a Blake Lively reference. Oh, right. when he gets in the team and he does the aside to the camera, he's just like, "Suck it, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland." Breaks the screen. That's hilarious.
The Nice Pool does a fourth wall breaker. He goes, one thing, the proposal.
He goes, "What are you, improv? You think that's what I do?" I love also in the beginning that guy Buck with the big beard, when he's talking and he says something, he's like, "Whoa, bitch, are you improving right now?" He's like, "I'm talking."
Because he was supposed to have no lines.
Yes, he said that twice. There's only one blade, only ever going to be one blade. Some motherfuckers still trying to ice skate uphill. The cocaine conversation is great. Oh, when in the beginning, when he's giving Happy Hogan shit about being first of all, he's like, is the man going to come in here? He's like, well, he doesn't do those things anymore. He goes, what, cameos? No, meetings. Talking about RDJ. And he's like, what's your superpower? Parallel parking?
Yeah, because he's saying,
that's funny.
What do you want? Us. We don't. He's like, what do you mean us?
He's like, you're part of the Avengers? We talked about, I don't know my daddy, but I'm sure I shot out of his dick ready.
That's always a really funny
How
line.
Ozzy fucks. Oh, there's a line when he introduces Wolverine. He goes, he's usually shirtless, but he's let himself go after the divorce. Fucking Hugh Jackman recently got a divorce from his long time
God.
wife. He calls him Hugh several times also.
Oh, does he?
Yes, it's hilarious.
He does. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to really digest in terms of, jokes and lines and cameos.
I saw it twice. It's great.
Had a great time.
Yeah, it's great on multiple views. I saw it twice because it was the first time people were laughing so much I was missing fucking lines. It's like that funny, that fast.
I actually thought about seeing it a second time as well, which is a testament to how entertaining the movie is.
It's just fun.
Well, I listened to Ruggs's instant reaction because I was enjoying the movie and I went, I need to get humbled and listen to Ruggs.
That's where you go.
I know he's going to say some shit that's going to piss me off and then make me rethink the movie. But I was surprised. When Ruggs was going, I had a great time. I was, laughing and, ecstatic about moments. I was like, Ruggs never shows enthusiasm like this. I was like, wow, this movie even kind of won him over despite a really shitty plot.
Yeah, it had some great moments. It had great surprises. Like I tried to avoid a lot of the stuff online. So I wanted to be legitimately thrilled when I went to the theater, and I was. And the fact that a lot of the fans were out that night and got a lot of these references, it all helps. It also said in my review that I didn't like any of the mechanics of the film. I just liked the moments, and the characters. Yeah, right. Like Jackman and Reynolds playing off of each other, the straight man and the wild man, works very well. Mm-hmm. And it's just fun. So I feel like even though the movie isn't the strongest plot wise and just anything that really makes sense, but
right.
It's they pack it with so much, as Imran said, it rewards you for watching all those movies. Yeah. It rewards you for being a fan. And unlike the pregnant lady that was sitting a couple of seats away from me, I got every fucking reference and I knew it. And it did hit in all the right ways. So it's an enjoyable film. It's fun. I wanted to had the inclination to go and watch it another time. That's how much fun I had. And just like Imran, I probably knew I missed out on a couple of things and I wanted to see it again because those times I was laughing and stuff was happening and I didn't catch certain things. But I think it's a good time. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think there's things that could have been written a little bit better and a little bit more. The tease of it being the MCU and the Deadpool universe kind of colliding was kind of like a soft. It wasn't really to the degree that I thought they were going to do it. I thought it was going to be really more monumental than it was.
A little bait and switch.
Yeah.
A little bit, but it's okay. Still works.
But those are some of the bad things, but I did enjoy myself. At the end of the day, when someone asked me, did I like it? Did I enjoy myself? I absolutely did. And I think anybody who's seen most of these movies is going to have a good time. They might not like the movie plot wise or what it amounts to, but in that moment, they're going to enjoy themselves.
Anthony, wrap it up. Final thoughts. Give me a number. Rate it if you want amongst the Deadpool movies, amongst the 34 Marvel movies. That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
That's hard.
Well, I can do that for you, though. I think the original Deadpool is probably still the best one, although I haven't revisited that one in a while. But this movie's great. I mean, this movie, it's great in its own way. I think we've kind of harped. We've given this movie its fair share of love. So I don't know if I need to repeat it, but it's just a great time. Marvel again can do there's so much history now with Marvel and just superhero stuff on screen that if like you make a movie that can pull at some of those things that we've seen in the past and do it well enough where there's like, it's not cheap like The Flash, where you're pulling out Christopher Reeves and CGIing him.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
that's the wrong way to do it. I feel like this movie did it in a way that's irreverent yet reverent, right? Because, you know, Deadpool is an irreverent character, but they were reverent to all the things that came before it, you know. And so I truly enjoyed the film. I had a great time. Marvel can pull off event films like no one else. You know, they have a lot of things to mind to do it. So I would give it an 8 out of 10. I looked at where I ranked it amongst the 34 films.
Yeah.
And I had it around the 11, 12 mark.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere between 11 and 13. Is
Yeah,
what I had.
no, I like that. That feels about right. Yeah.
You know, I think what would have made it obviously better is a more well-constructed plot that made sense, but the movie is not that deep. It's not trying to make an awesome plot. It's just trying to make you hang out with these guys for two hours and enjoy yourself.
All right.
There you go.
Rugs?
Yeah, in spite of its flimsiness and weak resolutions and character moments here and there, I do think that it was self-deprecating enough to do like the opposite of what She-Hulk did, where it tried to be meta, but like it was meta in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And this was actually taking Marvel to task a little bit, and Fox and
Disney
corporate thinking and all that type of stuff. So it was clever in that way. So even if the plot wasn't clever, that was clever. And it balances out. It all washes out to a good time. I'm also going to give it an 8. And I think I would like to see it a second time. How do I rank it in the scheme of all Fox movies?
Or what about out of the 3 Deadpool movies?
Out of the 3, I think this is probably second best. I think, or tied with I think this is better. A little bit, has more moments than Deadpool 2. I think Deadpool 2 is a pretty good one, but the first one is got the most heart. It works the best. It's got that romance story. It's got about him being suicidal. It just works better, I think, as far as thematic elements are concerned.
Solid trilogy, though. Now, if you think about it, yeah,
pretty good. They're all enjoyable.
What number did you give it?
8.
I'm going to give it an 8.
8. Okay. And do you want to put it somewhere in the 34, roughly?
34 which movies? All the Marvel
movies?
Oh, I don't know. It's in the, I would say in the top 20.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay. No, I had a blast. This movie was meant for me. It is a great kind of love letter to the Fox movies. It leaves the end of Logan kind of still intact. It is respectful, but fuck, the cameos did a lot like what they did with No Way Home, right? The story's a little clunky, but once the cameos hit and the cameos have purpose, it's a fucking joyride. This one does the same thing, only with dick jokes and lots of blood. I'm just going to give it
an ass play.
An ass play. I'm going to give it a 9. Fuck it. Right now, It's my favorite Deadpool movie. Just a little bit over the first one. I got to watch the first one again, but it's just these two characters together are such a joy. I can't believe it's taken this long to put them together. They're perfect. The people playing them are perfect. Their chemistry is perfect. And amongst the 34, I think I'm with you, Anthony. It's definitely in the top 15 and maybe even cracks top 10, maybe just outside of top 10 kind of.
If I could have had this Wolverine, the yellow spandex Wolverine in another movie, that would have been cool. With an actual X-Men cast, that would have been cool.
Maybe the suit comes back. He's still got it.
Never know.
We got the thing. Okay.
One quick big picture question.
Yes.
So start with Ruggs and then go to you, Imran, and then I'll finish off. Taking into account Deadpool and Wolverine and all the stuff that was announced this weekend with Marvel.
Yes.
Where are you at, Ruggs, with Marvel? Are they... Where are you at? Or do you think they're turning it around?
I feel like Deadpool's like a mulligan, or it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take that as a litmus test for the rest of Marvel. So I don't know. I'm still out to lunch on that one. I'm not sure. I do think that the fact that they're being so cautious and there's none of this stuff reeks of anything other than they're trying to make interesting movies. At this point, you haven't heard of any kind of weird like the Force is female shit, like like they with Star Wars or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So they seem to be like, hey, let's just get into like being entertaining and using these characters in the best way. So that bodes well, but I am not sure because at this point it's just marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until I actually see a movie, I could make that claim, right? Deadpool, as I said, I can't really count it because it's Deadpool. It's got so many things that it can do that a movie can't do. That
It's almost unfair.
It's a comedy. It can get away with a lot of stuff. It's a meta comedy about. So it's doing things that Marvel movies are not going to be doing. Hopefully, they're not going to be
an outlier. Really,
yeah, it really is an outlier. So I can't answer that question.
Look, I would say this one.
In fact, factoring into the RDJs, like everything.
Yeah, this 1-2 punch, right, with this movie coming out and the San Diego Hall H is definitely working the PR magic Marvel needed. Now, if you were to ask me, is the MCU back? Honestly, I felt after watching the movie and I'm like, almost. It's trending that way. It's very close, and it's going in the right direction. I like what the way the FF looked was really cool. And then them just getting everyone's eyeballs with the RDJ thing. It appears to the general public that Marvel is got their shit together. So I think that's good. And Deadpool is a step. It's a step in the right direction. But Ruggs is right. It's a fucking outlier. Nobody else can do this. Like fourth wall meta breaking. Only Deadpool can do this. It's almost unfair, but they used it well. I think they knocked it out of the park. So it's not all the way back, but it's close. What do you think, Anthony?
I agree with you, Imran. I think they're heading in the right direction with Deadpool, and I obviously saw other stuff over the weekend. So I think there's hope to turn it around. I don't know. I can't say for sure, because there's obviously. You got to really. I'm very curious how 2025 plays out with some of these movie releases.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to count the TV show stuff. So if and when they release Agatha and Ironheart, if those suck, I'm just gonna be like, those are things that they made when they were greenlighting everything. Like I almost feel like those things got to just be like taken out of the equation.
Yeah.
But I want to see how 2025 plays out with Captain America.
It's a big year. It's a big year next year.
It's a long ways away, though. A lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah,
it's like 6 or 7 months away.
February, you got February, May, July. So, Anthony, let me ask you: you seeing all this stuff? How did you feel? Like, did it remove all hesitation, or is there still a little bit of like hesitation left?
I mean, seeing it all live, you're just like, you can't help but be like, "Whoa, this is awesome!"
Yeah.
It's just kind of that room and that energy.
Yeah.
Being in that room, everyone's just
it's the experience of just being there.
Right. As I've had some time to digest everything, I am excited. I think I'm excited.
Nice.
Geek boner.
I think the RDJ thing did what it needed to do for me, whereas it got me going, whoa, like what happened? Where is that going?
Yeah.
But I also, the back of my head, our Doom is his own character. I don't know about. I also, I know, and everyone knows that follows this like we do, that this was not Plan A.
Right.
So they are rewriting this shit on the fly. Whereas when Avengers and all that stuff that run from 2008 to 2019, I'm sure there's stuff they wrote on the fly.
Yeah.
But they knew
they had a plan.
They had a plan that Thanos was going to be the guy. This has not been the plan. It was going to be Kang and Secret Wars. Now they've pivoted to Doom and they're doing this. So I'm willing to give them a chance, but I also know this wasn't the first idea. This is probably Plan D or Plan E. So they're pulling a rabbit out of the hat. So I want to see what happens.
I think it's about as good as a pivot you could make in their situation. I guess it worked.
I don't know.
I feel like, listen, is this going to be enough to talk about for 6 months? Is Deadpool going to be enough? And this Robert Downey Jr. reveal going to be enough to keep everyone's interest alive and good spirited?
It's going to go back and forth
until February.
No, it's going to go back and forth.
Like
everyone,
like if Agatha doesn't hit,
right? That's what's going to happen.
And then or Ironheart doesn't hit, and they're having these every week. The episodes come out, and then all of these podcasters and stuff or YouTubers are shitting on it because it sucks balls. It's it's going to dwindle back down.
Right now, everybody's like, Marvel is back. Agatha's come out. Everyone's be like, Marvel's dead. Then Captain America's will come out and be like, everybody's Marvel's back.
We got D23. Hopefully
D23 should be interesting. I'm looking forward.
They have something to talk about there.
I need to see Daredevil. I need to see
what they rescued this Daredevil show, hopefully.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying 2025 is huge because they need a run where they have a string of really good movies. Like if you remember back before, let's pull it up. 1 second here. Give me 1 second.
I mean, every movie that's open to number one, which is insane. 34 for 34.
But if you think about phase 3, like this run of movies they had, and some of them were not as good, but like look at the run they had in phase 3, where it went Civil War to start phase 3, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War. You had Ant-Man the Wasp and Captain Marvel, but Captain Marvel did really well, and then Endgame.
Yeah.
Like they went on a run there where like it was just banger after banger, and people were loving that. Like people were eating that shit up.
Yeah.
So like, while this was one good movie, they need that run. They need another run.
So Russo Brothers made a lot of those movies also. So
they made a couple.
They made a couple. There was like 2, 3 in there.
Russos are a big key here. So
I think I think it's looking.
We're getting 2 of them. So we're getting 2 Russo movies.
It's looking good. Looking crazy. He got my attention, Marvel. Don't fuck it up. Okay, let's do some news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
Okay, Facebook group Talking Nerd Nation got a lot of comments. Let's see what the group thought about Deadpool Wolverine. Jamie Robinson, who's Mr. Throwback Thursday from the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast, says, loved it. The absolute greatest part for me was the Gambit interactions. Also, the Elektra reaction to Daredevil being dead, since Garner and Affleck are no more, was awesome. It's fine. The Gambit bit was hilarious. Blake Braden says, cameo-driven and a 2-hour love letter to 20th Century Fox superhero movies. I'll take it. Ron Hans, Blade saying there is only one Blade and there will ever be one Blade, then having Deadpool look at the camera. Hilarious. Really good. Great step forward for the MCU. Steve Morrison loved every second of it. I didn't realize what we were missing out with a Channing Tatum Gambit. I wonder if he gets to play Gambit again.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, wow.
Like, where did they go at the end? It is kind of unclear. They were sent back to what universe was he saying? He wasn't even in a universe. I mean, I guess he was.
Maybe.
Yeah. It was hilarious. Scott Sangorum from Mostly Superheroes. Everything I wanted it to be and more. So glad I avoided a lot of the spoilers. Cameos were great. Some expected and some definitely not. I am surprised they were able to keep a lot of this on lockdown and not get spoiled. It's kind of.
I'm glad.
I feel like we did talk about Wesley Snipes being in this movie, but the Chris Evans thing.
Did we?
Here's the thing: is those cameos. Remember everybody was speculating everything. Like I feel like all the cameos were at some point mentioned, but it was like a list, so you didn't know.
Well, you always take it with a grain of salt. You don't know if it's actually true or not. So when it does happen, it's great.
Yeah. So, because there were so many people were just like throwing shit up to see what would happen. Same thing with the RDJ Dr. Doom. Like, I remember seeing that, but I was like, if somebody's just fucking making this up. Rick Martinez says,
I fucking loved it.
Would have got a major geek boner had Thomas Jane appeared as the Punisher.
I know, what a missed opportunity there.
That would have been a great Punisher. Jose Ibarra says, some motherfuckers still always trying to ice skate uphill. This movie delivered on so many levels. This was the type of theater experience that I didn't think I'd be a part of again after No Way Home. It wasn't quite a full-on Deadpool in the MCU movie I was expecting, but I think it succeeded in legitimizing the Fox movies as part of the overall Marvel movie MCU canon. It leaves the door open for more potential. For one, I don't think they need to cast a new Wolverine. I honestly think they already have the perfect one, and it's not Logan. Throw the suit on Daphne Keene and call it a day. We don't need another Logan.
I don't know about that.
I mean, you could put her in the yellow suit and have her also.
I
think on that point, I actually don't mind doing that just because
it's like a Shuri
recasting
thing.
Logan. Yeah, it would be tough.
No,
would be really
Henry
tough.
Cavill, bro. Just give it to Cavill.
But you already have done the work to build up Daphne Keene.
You have. And people love her.
Like 23.
Yeah. Oh, and then on my Patreon instant reaction, I said something like Hugh Jackman, I think, is the one actor who's been playing the same superhero character the longest, 24 years. But Jose Ibarra brings up, technically for longest actor playing superhero, wouldn't that go to Wesley for his appearance in this movie?
Oh, shit. That's right, motherfucker.
I think it does. 1998 to 2024. It's been one blade.
No, doesn't that go to George Reeves? Wasn't he in The Flash?
That doesn't count. That was real. They didn't even ask his family if they could do that.
No, not Christopher Reeve. No, George.
George Reeves.
The original.
The original was in there too.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It was?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
they had him too.
He CGI'd.
I don't think they asked any of these people's families to do this. But yes, Wesley now I think is longest running. That's amazing. Adam Morris. This was the most fun I've had in a movie in a long time. They're a great team. Jackman is the perfect straight man for Reynolds. Deep cut comic references and references to all the comic movies in history. Impressive that they could pull that off. The Chris Evans cameo I had kind of heard about, but it didn't make it any less awesome. Can't wait to see it again. Also, they kind of just did Secret Wars. It's a little bit like Endgame Light. It's a little bit like Secret Wars, if you think about it.
What do you mean?
Variants coming together to fight.
No, but the Secret Wars is them, the planets are crashing in and Doom
sure.
adds the best part of each planet to make a battle world, yeah.
But yeah, I guess this is more an Endgame cameo kind of thing. Anyways, Daryl K says 12 out of 10, despite that third act mask Wolverine CGI being total ass. He did not like the mask. Sebi Ravi says, what a fun movie. Jackman and Reynolds deserve to be ranked among the best cinematic duos ever. It's just a shame so many of the cameos got spoiled early. The Daphne Keane cameo especially should have been kept under wraps. Some minor gripes were that they didn't seem to be a sense of urgency, even though we were initially told that Deadpool only had 72 hours to save his world. I also felt Dogpool was an unnecessary addition that was simply there
not the only one.
for the ugly visual. That dog actually won Britain's ugliest dog contest. He's famous.
Okay.
He has more Instagram followers than all of us combined. Overall, this was a near perfect sequel that made me feel oddly nostalgic for the Marvel movies that I never was really a big fan of.
That last sentence is how I felt.
Yeah, and it's amazing they get you to be nostalgic for these movies.
About movies that for a majority of them weren't great.
They weren't good at all. But you're like, I remember when they were trying and then they didn't know. Logan Janis, also from Mostly Superheroes, says this movie had a lot to accomplish. I think they understood the mission, did it right, and Disney is betting big on this one, considering the press tours, brand partnerships were the biggest I've seen since the Star Wars Pepsi cans. They not only pulled it off, made a fantastic movie for fans that we actually love, but most likely doubled the MCU fan base by bringing in so many new people. This is a great entry point for any on the fence superhero movie / TV fans. Deadpool explaining things is actually helpful, like Eliath line, like in Loki Season 1, Episode 5. At last, the Deadpool tone / style pairs very well with modern audiences that are now self-aware, so I think the overall formula here will impact the future MCU titles in a big way. Pair this approach with the X-Men 97 approach, and you got some amazing shit on screen. P.S. I also think this brings some hope for the new Blade. The MCU is back in a big way. Can't wait to hear you dudes gab about this one. It's been a long time coming. Talk to you guys soon. Well, thank you, Logan.
Hopefully you liked the gab.
It's interesting. Yeah, what do you think about that? The tone is very Deadpool. But X-Men 97, I don't know how you can translate that to live action. I'm not really sure. But how much more of this self-aware stuff can they do without it being like too gimmicky? We see more.
It works in Deadpool. I don't think they tried it in She-Hulk. It didn't really work well, but
right, that's true.
It's the slant that they took that it was just a little bit cringy, but you know,
they gotta make sure with the movies they continue to release out that they have an angle on these. It can't just be, hey, we need to do another movie,
right?
Like there has to be a feel and tone. That
formula, like let's just do Guardians of the Galaxy, but or like what Joss Whedon did with the first Avengers with every movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like let's make everybody quippy. Let's you know all these tropes that become a parody of itself.
And what will be the next R-rated movie? I believe Feige did say Blade will be R-rated. I think that is another thing.
Let's hold your horses on Blade. I don't know.
Well, if that's never
Blade will
even
come out.
That movie is so wrong, and
just get Wesley to do it. Jesus, he looks great. He gets.
I haven't heard anything cool about this Blade. Like this Blade movie should be your horror movie. It should be a vampire, werewolf, mummies. Get all that shit in there.
You got Werewolf by Night already established. You got a bunch of things.
You got the man thing, that big, his giant, big hairy man thing.
Don't play with my man thing.
Yeah,
Have
these
fun
got
with my Peter.
that they could do with Blade in there and the Night Stalkers and all that shit.
I mean, throwing in that line, I don't know if I'm supposed to really read into it, but I'm kind of reading into it that they were maybe saying, "Fuck this Blade. We're just going to keep him as the canon Blade."
Wesley Snipes. He essentially did this. That line, like, you can't get your shit together. Oh lordy. Oh man. Anyways, what a fucking wild, fun weekend. What a great movie. It was very satisfying. It's one of those weeks I'm glad we have a podcast because I was going to explode if I didn't talk about this. That's it for this week. Next week, fellas, we have the House of the Dragon finale. It's ending season 2. So I think that's what we'll do. Also, that Batman Cape Crusader animated show on Amazon Prime starts this week, August 1st.
Sounds cool.
If anybody wants to see it. But Hot D.
And we can also talk about all the stuff that we didn't get the chance to talk about this week.
Yes.
With some of the trailers.
There was more things released. I just kept it MCU specific. So Hot D, more news all next week. Fantastic. Ruggs, where can the people find you online?
Rug Boy Show on X. Come by, follow me. And, I have now at least 5 followers now.
Oh, that's great. Let's get one more in there, maybe.
I think I have more than that, but yeah.
Give him a follow. It's a shit show. It's a lot of fun. Elon will like it. No, I don't know. Anyways, thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
I offered you a chance to be a cop, and you blew it.
Jock and Nerd